He is currently testifying on the stand following his application being denied. Staying in the courts, Member of Parliament for Deal Adams has been granted 10,000 rand bail. The National Coloured Congress leader appeared in the Pinetown Magistrates Court today. Adams faces 3 counts of fraud and 2 counts of defeating the ends of justice in the alleged interference with the murder case of ANC councillor Cindy Somagaqa, who was killed in 2017. This relates to his visit in Wasteful prison, where he made a video interview of 2 inmates linked to the high-profile cases. Magistrate Gwendolyn Robertson made the ruling in the Pinetown Magistrates Court in the west of Durban today.
In considering the evidence placed before me, I am then satisfied that you are a suitable candidate to be released on bail.
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has committed to helping with the repatriation of a family killed in a road accident involving his driver. On Saturday night, Beauty Shoparai and her 1-year-old son, Paul Masunda Jr., were killed after being struck by a car transporting the minister. Shoparai was trying to reach her husband, Paul Masunda, who had died in a similar fashion a few minutes earlier. Motsoaledi visited the family at their home in Belabela in Limpopo. Thabiso Goba was there.
Prior to his death, Paul Masunda worked as a freelance handyman whose main source of income to support his family came from selling firewood. His family says they do not have the 75,000 rand required to repatriate them back home to Zimbabwe and have them buried in their hometown of Jerere. When Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi visited the family, he was accompanied by a small entourage of government officials from his department.
It's a tragedy that no human being could have expected. We came also because family needs repatriation back to Zimbabwe. And it so happened that coincidentally, the certification and arrangements to repatriate people across borders actually done by Port Health, which is in the Department of Health. So we're going to see what arrangements we can do for them.
The Zimbabwean consulate has also committed to expediting the process, with the family hoping to have a joint funeral next Tuesday. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
The Judicial Service Commission has recommended the suspension of Eastern Cape High Court Judge Belinda Hartl pending the outcome of a judicial tribunal into allegations of gross misconduct, incapacity and gross incompetence. The complaint stems from an incident last year involving a long-serving office of the Chief Justice employee at the East London High Court. The employee accuses Hartl of verbally abusing and insulting him after he delivered case files to her chambers, alleging that she used profanities and a racial slur during the encounter. Mungezi Gogo has more.
The complainant says the incident left him traumatized and that he later received medical treatment for depression following the alleged altercation. In her response, Judge Hartl admitted to using a swear word during the incident but denied directing it at the complainant or using the racial slur alleged against her. The JSC has now requested Chief Justice Mandisa Maya to appoint a judicial conduct tribunal to investigate the matter. While recommending her suspension, the Commission says Hartl will still be allowed to finalize partly heard matters and reserve judgments until the complaint process is concluded. Mongezi Gogo, Eyewitness News.
And in Central Africa, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 65 people. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 246 cases of the deadly hemorrhagic fever have been reported, mainly in the gold mining town in Ituri province. The province shares borders with Uganda and South Sudan, raising concerns about the risk of further spread. Ebola is a severe illness with a high fatality rate that spreads through direct contact with body fluids of infected people or dead bodies, such as during funeral preparations. This marks the 17th outbreak of the deadly viral disease in the country. The health watchdog says it's convening an urgent meeting today with officials from the DRC, Uganda, South Sudan and other international partners to discuss priorities, including response efforts and cross-border surveillance. Gold's trading at $4,544.12 an ounce. The rand's at 16.67 to the dollar, I beg your pardon, at 22.26 to the pound, at 19.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $108.40 a barrel.
Heading towards Bedfordview, accident scene in Edenville on the N3 southbound near Linksfield Road, causing heavy delays from London Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Bramley, at Collet and the M1 North.
In your sport, a deflated Mamelodi Sundowns looking for a CAF Champions League boost. Arne Slot admits that Liverpool's away Premier League record has been nowhere near good enough. And Vasily Lomachenko ends his year-long retirement from boxing.
A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Friday afternoon in Gauteng. Today, temperatures are peaking at highs between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. It's News Just In. The Madlanga Commission has dismissed businessman Brown Mokhotzi's recusal application.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It is 8 minutes past 3 on Friday, the 15th of May. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. The Madlanga Commission today has focused on the grievances of Brown Mokhotzi.
Regarding the whole process as how it unfolded, it should be recorded again, Chair. I have noticed the proceedings, including when my counsel speaks, she got interrupted more than 10 times. The counsel here was allowed to speak. When my counsel tried to read one case law into record, it was that, no, we know it. The other counsel had an opportunity to speak uninterrupted for so long.
That was Brown Mokhotzi talking in the context of his failed effort to have evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson recused from continuing to question him. When that failed, Advocate Chaskelson then began going on with the line of questioning. At that point, Mr. Mokhotzi refused to answer a question, saying he's doing so on the grounds that I will incriminate myself. When he then was asked to explain how confirming when he met General Shadrach Sabir would incriminate himself, he persisted with that line of reply, and now they're in some kind of recess where the commissioners have asked him to consider the legal implications of the stance he's taking. Quite an extraordinary end to this particular phase of the Madlanga Commission. Khomotso Modise joining us shortly with the very latest. In Parliament this week, the relevant Parliamentary Committee on Correctional Services heard how that department have been paying insane prices for cooking ingredients like oil, for example, to be used in the kitchen. Correctional Services Minister Peter Groenewald joins us after 5 to offer his explanation for how this came to pass. Down in Pinetown, Nhlanhla Mabaso has been covering the bail application of National Coloured Congress leader Fadil Adams, who stands charged with fraud and defeating the ends of justice. Adams has got bail, 10,000 rand. Nhlanhla with an update on what was a very lengthy hearing, it would seem. The storms have really hammered both the Eastern and the Western Cape, and with it consequences also for people who don't live there. These are both key farming areas, various kinds of produce coming out of both parts of the country. Wandile Sihlobo, agricultural economist, will help us assess the damage and its implications. And as always, on a Friday, we bring you a song, a book, and a dish. This week we feature someone who actually makes his own songs. That is the very latest offering from multi-Grammy Award winner Wouter Kellerman. We're going to mark the occasion of his release of new music by talking to him at 20 to 6. He's chosen a song that isn't one of his, by the way. He's got a book for us, and of course we have to talk food because That is the dish part of a song, a book, and a dish. Really, really looking forward to that. On the markets today, it's as rough as it can get, I think. The all share is way down. The rand is weaker. The oil price is up. Gold and platinum have lost substantial value. Let's start with the all share, down by 2,550 points. That is a lot. With the resources index hit particularly hard, weaker by 4.8%. Reunert is leading the losers, off by 11.2%. African Rainbow Minerals down by 7.2%. Anglo has lost 6.7%. Pan-African Resources has lost 6.6%. Couple of lonely bulls out there. Karoo is up by 4.1% after a bit of a difficult couple of days. Sasol up by 3.5%. The rand, as I said, weaker, 16.66 against the dollar. That's a 24-cent fall over the last 24 hours. A euro will cost you 19 rand 37. That's 17 cents weaker. And 22 rand 24 will get you a pound, a 7-cent loss for the rand against sterling. Oil price is up by $1.81, currently trading at $180.40 for a barrel of Brent crude. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga. Sundowns fans optimistic for the game on Sunday. If you think you're going to win it over 2 legs and get yourself a second star as African club champions, tell us what you're optimistic about. And have you got a ticket? Really looking forward to hearing people's expectations for the game. And by the way, I mean, there have been some people saying all South African fans should be getting behind Sundowns. If you're a Buccaneer or a supporter of Chiefs or TS Galaxy or anybody else, happy to get behind the Brazilians, let us know on 0727021702. Karabo Chali has the traffic news. Maki Mulapo joins us at 3:30 with the latest news headlines. Quick one for you, Karabo, by the way. Buccaneer, are you wearing blue, yellow, and green on Sunday?
Ish, as a South African, I am going to be supporting Sundowns. All the best for them. But then I'm more focused on our challenge. That's the league. So I'll be definitely black and white and winning the PSL this weekend.
Okay, there we go. The other huge football thing happening. And yeah, Pirates fans will have their minds on their own glory. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you will hear about it here first. If there's something we've missed, though, and if there's something in your neighborhood or in your sphere of interest and influence, give us a call on that as well. There are plenty of stories out there that we don't know about. You can help with that. 072-702-1702 or 011-883-0702. 702 Drive. It's 3:15.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So I think some of you might be watching movies over the weekend, and there are some movies that stick in your mind for various reasons. And then there are other movies that some people say you can simply tell people what the movie is. You don't have to name it. You just have to give them one line from that movie, and everybody will know exactly what it is you're talking about. And quite often they don't even say anything. They just smile because, you share. You have a shared understanding. I'm just looking up, by the way, at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. It looks like they're underway. We don't have sound on, but Khumotso Modise will give us the latest shortly. Is Brown Mokhotsi answering questions, or is he pleading the fifth? Not literally, because we don't have the Fifth Amendment here, but I refuse to answer on the grounds that I might incriminate myself, is well known from other Dustus cultures as well. Jonathan Fairbairn, movies. One line. Have you got one?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Okay. Movie. Do you know what it is?
Scarface, maybe?
No, close.
No.
Right genre.
That one is say hello to my little friend.
Okay.
Okay. The bar has been set very high on the accents there. So, movie.
That
Godfather
one, the first one was obviously The Godfather.
Oh.
1, 2.
Yeah, no, that's
Godfather
1.
Okay.
That's Godfather 1.
Got any
I
others?
was thinking as well, modern movies or movies maybe 5 years ago and a little bit beyond, there's not like really memorable lines like there used to be from movies in the
really?
Hollywood.
That's interesting.
Hollywood era, like, the blockbusters that came out. I can't think of anything made recently where there's iconic lines.
Karabo Charlie, what have you got for us?
Yeah, my movies are also pretty old.
So you're going to give us the line and then we have to guess. Don't give us the movie.
This one is so easy. To infinity and beyond.
Toy Story. Buzz Lightyear.
Sure, I'm glad Cabazella was here because I'm
You had no idea.
in the dark.
And then the other one is Simba. You deliberately disobeyed me.
Okay, even I can do that one. Amazingly. Lion King. Okay, I've got one. I'll save it for later. Let's have yours, please. Movies that you just have to give people one line. And give us the line. We would love to get your voice notes. Do your very best accent and delivery of the line as you heard it. Otherwise, if you want to send it as a text, we'd be very, very happy to have that as well. 072 702 1702. Let's get the traffic now with Karabuchali again.
Yep.
How are we looking? Friday early rush hour started yet?
Yeah, no, it is starting already, John. A few issues on our roads. Let me start in Ekurhuleni, Edenvale, heading towards Germiston. There's an accident scene, N3 southbound near Linksfield Road, already causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road in the Joburg CBD, traveling towards Boysons, also slow-moving traffic. M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange in the city of Tshwane. Bumper-to-bumper traffic in Waterkloof. That's heading towards Linwood on the N1 northbound between the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange and the Proof Plus Interchange. And in Onderstepoort, we still have those roadworks slowing down traffic on the N4 eastbound between Roslyn Road and Bravery. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
19 minutes past 3. Michael has sent us our first line. Nobody puts baby in a corner. And that, I understand, is the iconic final line spoken by Johnny Castle, played by Patrick Swayze in the 1987 film Dirty Dancing. Saw the movie. Don't remember the line. Not sure why. Anyway, thank you, Michael, getting us going. 19 minutes past 3. Let's go down to Pinetown now. What seemed to me, at least, quite a lengthy bail hearing involving Fadil Adams, who is being charged with both fraud and defeating the ends of justice. He is the leader of the political party, the National Coloured Congress, and is a member of Parliament. Nhlanhla Mabaso has been in the courts and joins us now. Nhlanhla, was it just a lengthy bail hearing process, or was there a fair amount of dispute? Good afternoon to you.
Well, good afternoon, John. Indeed, it was quite a lengthy one. It took about 2 days full, if I may say, because they had already started some parts of the bail hearing when he appeared for the first time last week, but also when he appeared again this week, Wednesday. But today, of course, Magistrate Gwendolyn Robertson reaching that decision to grant him 10,000 rand bail, fighting a lot of the state and the defense's arguments. You'd recall that the state was opposing the bail based on his behavior or utterances that he's made about the criminal justice system as a whole, but also his attitude towards the political kill he's tasked him. He has taken on various public platforms speaking ill of the team, but also police in KwaZulu-Natal, or police generally. But also they cited a previous court order in 2024 when the Cape Town High Court actually basically what it did was to order him to apologize to the city manager that he had made racial posts about on a social media platform. But instead of honoring or adhering to that particular court order, he then said he will not be apologizing, which then led to the municipal manager opening criminal charges. The state in the matter saying that this is someone who does not respect the criminal justice system, or the court saying that he gave a middle finger to the courts, and that's Advocate Gaba telling Magistrate Gwendolyn Robertson to say you are also a court and this may affect you in a way. But his defense lawyer, Advocate Yuri Kanga, is saying that, well, he's willing to comply with any of the regulations or orders that will come with this, bail if granted. And indeed, after he was granted bail, we saw Magistrate Robertson actually going as far as warning him and actually talking about his attitude and behavior towards the criminal justice system, also cautioning him and how he should conduct himself in that regard going forward, John.
And so when are they back in court?
Well, the matter has now been postponed. I think he will turn back next month, where he will stand. Where he will come answer questions. Rather, you recall, John, that once he's given bail, now he has to go and properly consult with his lawyers. But according to the court, I must mention this, John, very important, that he indeed still has a case to answer to, and this is in as far as the interfering in the Cindy Somakaka case is concerned. He still has a case to answer to as to why did he, order police officers to escort him doing something that had nothing to do with his parliamentary duties.
Right.
He still has a case to answer to in as far as to why did he call the witnesses in the Cindy Somakaka case? Why take videos of them? Why publish the videos outside the work of Parliament? But also, he still has a case to answer to as to why he misused this parliamentary identity, saying that he was there for Parliament work, but also breaking prison rules and regulations by going to interview inmates who are implicated in what is said to be a high-profile case, John.
Thank you so much, Nhlanhla Mabaso. Yeah, very, very high-profile matter that, beginning with the protracted scenes that played out before Fadil Adams was eventually arrested, then concerns expressed by family and the party faithful that transporting him in a police van all the way to KZN was going to put him at some kind of risk. Here we are now. He is out on bail. 24 minutes past 3.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Right. Let's go to the Mdlanga Commission of Inquiry. Quite an extraordinary thing happening today, and I highlighted it in my introduction. Just to repeat, if people have just joined us, Brown Mokgotsi, after losing, after the Commission dismissed his application for evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson to recuse himself or be recused, he then indicated that he would not be answering questions. Now, there's a little bit of a dispute about whether he was saying he's not going to answer any questions or he was simply, the commissioners were drawing that conclusion when he refused to answer what appeared to be a question purely of fact, which he said would incriminate him. There was a break then, consulting with lawyers, and here we are. It looks to me like they are underway again, but Khumotso Modise, our EWN reporter, will put us in the picture. Khumotso, very good afternoon to you. It looks like Brown Mokgotsi is answering questions. That's what I can see, but if he is proceeding as a witness, what eventually persuaded him to do that? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. I am struggling to hear you. There seems to be a bit of sound playing there in the background.
Oh, there shouldn't be. Shall I ask you again, if Brown Mokgotsi was persuaded to actually, operate as a witness without reservation, what exactly persuaded him to do that?
Well, Dr. John, he just started resuming his testimony now as I was holding to speak to you. So I am going to be, having to dip in and listen to the reasons really that he's given. But I must say that he had consulted. He'd been advised to consult with his legal representatives who were there today for the recusal application. And this is after he decided and he said that he does not want to incriminate himself. I must say that Brown Mokgotsi's posture has really been that the commission is unfair to him because just before he started testifying as Matthew Chaskelson resumed his duties as the chief evidence leader in this particular testimony, he then pointed out that the commission has been unfair to him, saying that when his legal representatives were making their submissions, the commissioners were interjecting and asking questions. But when the legal representative or the lawyer for the commission, that is Adila Hassan, when she was making her representations, I should say, the commission did not interject at all. So he does come across as an aggrieved man, a man that feels that the commission has been unfair to him. So it wasn't surprising that when it was time for him to answer questions that were posed to him, he did feel as though he should not answer because he may incriminate himself. However, I do see now that he has resumed his testimony at the Madlanga Commission.
In terms of his recusal application, I mean, it was dismissed. And, I watched quite a bit of it this morning, and certainly his counsel, Advocate Mohamane, was put under a fair amount of cross-questioning. I don't know if cross-questioning is the right word, but she was having to explain the grounds for his application in quite a bit of detail. Presumably that's what he was objecting to, that he felt that she was constantly having to justify what she was doing, whereas, he's saying that standard wasn't applied with Advocate Hasim, who was arguing for Advocate Chaskelson.
That's right, John. When we heard the lawyer for Brown Mokhotsi, she had made a number of submissions from 9 a.m. and almost throughout her submissions, there were questions that were posed by the commissioners, questions around the reasons for this recusal application. But also the commissioners did not hesitate to point out when they felt like something wasn't correct in terms of law. There were times where the submissions that were made really were pointed out for not being correct in terms of the law around the application of the law. At some point, she had used the recusal standard for a presiding officer and not necessarily an evidence leader. And the commissioners were readily there to point that out. And I do think that's where Brown Mokhotsi feels as though his legal representative has been treated unfairly. But also the commission has also really taken its time to ask Brown Mokhotsi's lawyers about what exactly happened leading to this recusal application. I think it's important to mention that the commission has been at pains to get to the bottom of who exactly was, leading this engagement between Brown Mokhotsi and Matthew Chaskelson. And just to remind the listeners, John, at the heart of this is Brown Mokhotsi's allegation that Matthew Chaskelson wanted him to implicate Suleiman Karim, the Northwest businessman, and to basically say what he may have done that is unlawful. And in exchange, he claimed that he would be granted immunity. Now, the commissioners had to get to the bottom of this, and I think that's why they kept on posing so many questions. And at the end of it, it was clear that, and this is an admission that was made and a concession that was made by Brown Mokhotsi's lawyers, John, that there had not been a promise that he would be granted immunity if he implicated Suleiman Karim. But also, it was also clear that some of the allegations that had been made by Brown Mokhotsi seemed to be unfounded, and the commissioners were not convinced on this. So that's really what's led to the point where we are now, where the commission has dismissed this recusal application and is insisting that they must hear the testimony of Brown Mokhotsi, cross-examined by Matthew Chaskelson.
Thank you so much, Khumotso Modise. Yeah, we'll follow this with it's really interesting. We haven't yet had this at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. By the way, they do wrap up today, not finally, but this particular phase concludes today. The commissioners and the team then go away and write up their second interim report. And I've got a couple of things I wanted to get your view on in regard to the Madlanga Commission. We'll do that later. It's 3:30. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Maki Mulapo, starting, I think, at that commission. Good afternoon, Maki.
That's right, John. Good afternoon. The recusal application of Madlanga Commission Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskelson, brought by controversial figure Brown Mokhotsi, has been dismissed. Mokhotsi brought the application claiming Chaskelson tried to get him to testify against ANC businessman Suleiman Karim in exchange for immunity. But he later conceded that the chief evidence leader did not promise him protection. The chair, Mbuyiseli Madlanga, handed down the decision a short while ago.
The application is dismissed. Reasons will be given during the course of next week, if not the week after. The effect of the dismissal of the application is that Mr. Mokhotsi's evidence will be heard today.
Mokhodzi must now continue with his testimony, with Chaskalson cross-examining. The ANC has moved to counter reports that its provincial executive in the Eastern Cape has been disbanded. ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says the PEC's term has ended without it holding a provincial conference to elect a new leadership. Attempts to hold a provincial conference in March were beset with court challenges over branch disputes. Like with several other provinces, including Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal and the Western Cape, a task team will be set up to lead the Eastern Cape in the interim. At a press conference today, Mbalula said an announcement on the composition of the task team that will lead the party in the Eastern Cape will be made soon.
The Eastern Cape is not disbanded. Its term lapsed. So the NEC have approved that we constitute a provincial task team. And that task team will be announced in the next coming week with the mandate fully of the National Executive Committee.
Meanwhile, Mbalula says the term of the provincial task team in Gauteng established last year has now run out and it will be reconstituted.
The governments of these provinces are not affected by these organizational matters of the movement. The work of the state continues. The National Working Committee will on Monday consider the compositions of the two provincial task teams.
The case against Crime Intelligence Head Lieutenant General Dumsana Khumalo and 6 others has been postponed to September pending the outcome of representations to the National Director of Public Prosecutions. Khumalo and his co-accused appeared before the Pretoria Magistrates Court today in connection with fraud and corruption charges. The case relates to the alleged appointment of an unqualified civilian within the South African Police Services Crime Intelligence Division. The state says Khumalo and 5 of his co-accused submitted representations to the office of the NDPP during the same week the matter was expected to be transferred to a higher court for trial. IDAC spokesperson Henry Mamutame.
IDAC has completed its investigations in this matter and is ready to ventilate it in a trial court.
The case has now been postponed to the 3rd of September for the outcome of those representations. And U.S. President Donald Trump says tariffs did not form part of what he's labeled as fantastic trade deals with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. The two leaders met for a landmark summit to discuss a number of issues affecting both countries. They'd been widely expected to discuss extending the 1-year tariff truce reached during their last meeting in October in South Korea, which brought a pause to a blistering trade war that had seen tariffs on many goods exceed 100%. The deal saw Washington maintain some tariffs over China's alleged role in global fentanyl supply chains and accusations of unfair practices. But earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down many of Trump's duties, including those imposed over drug trafficking. The White House quickly moved to impose a 10% global tariff using temporary powers and opened investigations that could lead to more lasting duties. A look at your weather. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng. Today, temperatures are peaking at highs between 23 and 25 degrees.
Edenville heading towards Bedford View. Accident scene N3 southbound near Linksfield Road, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road. Sunwood Park heading into Dawn Park. Traffic sluggish on Rondebolt Road, approaching North Boundary Road, and in Onderstepoort, Pretoria roadworks causing heavy delays on the N4 eastbound between Roslyn and Bravery Road.
The top story in Eyewitness News, the recusal application of Madlanga Commission Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskalson, brought by controversial figure Brown Mokhodzi, has been dismissed.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Dr. Claire Trent, CEO of London-based Untap Health. What is the hantavirus?
Hantavirus is quite a rare but very serious viral disease, and it primarily affects the lungs and the respiratory system. And there's only around 10,000 to 100,000 cases a year spotted annually, but we don't really know how many cases there are. And that reason is because diagnosing it doesn't happen that often because it's quite so rare.
How is it transmitted?
It's caught from animals, rodent urine, rodent droppings, rodent saliva.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 My Jozi Walk the Talk. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be a part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Do you ever call you like to sell? But don't trust your uncle or your pal. Then we buy cars, it's just for you. Buying cars is what we do. We offer service with a smile. We always go the extra mile. Use a place that you trust and sell your car to us.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Mzansi, great things can happen when you play Powerball Plus for the mind-blowing 90 million rand estimated jackpot, while Powerball stands at an estimated 85 million rand jackpot this Friday. That's right, play Powerball Plus for an estimated 90 million rand and Powerball for an estimated 85 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, Dr. John, and to the team. Greetings. Yeah, on movies, man, this one I will never forget. I'm sure once I say it, you will all remember it. It's a South African movie. They do not call me Die Hard for nothing. That's the movie. That's the movie.
Good afternoon, Dr. John. Find them and destroy them. This is Mulife from Alberti.
John, I think you should know this one. I'll be back. You and I know better than anybody. Life ain't always sunshine and rainbows. It ain't about how hard you can get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want. If you are looking for the ransom, I can tell you that I don't have any money. If you let my daughter go now, that will be the end of it. If you don't, I will find you and I'll kill you. And then there was a reply at the end of the line that said, good luck.
My mama told me life is like a box of chocolates. This is Chris from Radiohead. My mama told me life is like a box of chocolates. This is Chris from Radiohead.
I'm also just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her. It's Notting Hill, my most fave. It's Mbali Mahlangu here.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. And everybody giving it their absolute best shot. So we had Liam Neeson in Taken, we had Forrest Gump, we had There's a Zulu on My Stoop, hey, Karabo, you picked that one up. Notting Hill, Julia Roberts. What else? There was such a Forrest Gump, obviously, Tom Hanks. Any others that I missed? Anyway, thank you. Keep them coming. If you're wondering why the 702 family is suddenly going all Hollywood on us, it's because we asked the question, movies where there's a single line and you don't actually need to tell people what the movie is, you just need to hear the lines. So that's a great start. 072 702 1702. It's, still to come on 702 Drive.
Seba and the red team, Chef and T and the blue team, the time has come to greet our radio personalities who are joining us for lunch.
Ooh, the celebrity aspect today is celebrating. I see Bongani Bengwa and Vanessa Marawa, and I'm like, what is going on here?
MasterChef on Sunday. Bongani Bingwa, normally associated with breakfast, but on Sunday he's very much caught up with lunch. He's going to tell us what it was like to be on the show. Bongani joining us at about 10 minutes to 4 sports time.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, so Pirates win on Saturday and they are league champs. Sunday, Sundowns win and they're halfway towards getting themselves another African crown. So, predictions on each, do you have them for us yet?
I think it'll be 1-1 for Orlando Pirates up against Durban City tomorrow, and then I think Sundowns will win 2-1 against ASFAR.
Okay, so if you wanted to see Karabo Charlie's face when Tolakele said 1-1, go to our YouTube feed and then you get to see all of this stuff. You don't just hear us because it was pretty silent. But it was a face that said, no, I don't think so. YouTube, just go on YouTube, type in John Perlman 702 live drive, and you should get in there. Tolakele, you're starting with the Sundowns game today.
Absolutely, John. They have to pick themselves up from a disappointing league season and switch focus to the CAF Champions League as the first leg takes place on Sunday. The Brazilians take on ASFAR in the two-legged final, looking to win their second continental title in a decade. Divine Lunga has discussed the importance of this competition in order to avoid a trophyless campaign.
It's been like a decade now, so I think that thing is pushing us that especially this season we need it more than anything, because last season we were there and then this season we are here again, so I think we're gonna push ourselves and try to pull up our A game so that we can win the tournament.
Liverpool play their last away Premier League game of the season this evening as they travel to Aston Villa. Arne Slot admits that the Reds have dropped too many points in away matches, having won just 7 of the 18 games and picking up 24 points. Going into the encounter, the teams are level on 59 points, and a win for either ensures UEFA Champions League qualification for next season.
That's one of the reasons why we're in the position we are in. And what I mean with that is we wanted to be higher or doing better this season, but we've dropped far too many points in away games. And as I said, but that's maybe always happening in the end of the season. You constantly feel you're telling everyone the same things. But dropping points in away games has mainly happened after playing in Europe, in games where usually Liverpool is able to win.
With the English top flight season a fortnight away from completion, clubs have started announcing player departures. Seamus Coleman will end his 17-year Everton career when his contract expires after setting a club record for most Premier League appearances with 372. Defender Marcos Senesi will leave Bournemouth after spending 4 years with the Cherries, while in the women's game, striker Samantha Kerr will leave Chelsea when her contract expires following a 6.5-year spell in London. Kerr departs as the club's fourth highest appearance maker with 157 and has scored 115 goals for the club, one shy of Frank Kirby's all-time record. And Vasily Lomachenko is ending his retirement just a year after stepping away from the ring. Lomachenko's record stood at 18-3 with 12 knockouts and has held world titles in the featherweight, super featherweight and lightweight divisions. During his amateur days, he also won 2 Olympic gold medals. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by GWM, class-leading vehicles that help you navigate your journey. Tricky times at the moment out in Edenvale. Karabo Charlie has that update and a few others besides.
So if you are leaving Alexandra heading towards Germiston, we have that accident scene in Edenvale, N3 southbound near Linksfield Road, still causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road, while in Sunwood Park, traffic sluggish heading into Dawn Park. This is on Rondebolt Road, approaching North Boundary Road. In the Joburg CBD, travelling towards Boysens, slow-moving traffic, M1 southbound, between Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange, while in the city of Tshwane, bumper-to-bumper traffic in Waterkloof, that's heading towards Linwood on the N1 and northbound, between the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange and the Proof Plus Interchange. Those delays caused by roadworks, and there's also roadworks slowing down traffic in Onderstepoort. This is on the N4 eastbound between Roslyn Road and Bravery. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Another fuel hike means more adjustments, like using every loyalty point just to get by.
Okay, use the points first, then this voucher. Wait, I have a coupon on my app for the bread. And then I'll swipe the remaining R2, please.
Don't let the fuel hikes restrict you. Get 5,000 Rand for fuel when you buy any GWM vehicle this month. Visit your nearest dealership or go to gwm.co.za to book a test drive. T's and C's apply. GWM. Go with more.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
You know, you'd be forgiven for thinking that we have 3 different climate zones, or at least 2 in our studio, because I'm wearing a T-shirt, and if I say so myself, quite a cool one. Karabo Charlie has a heavy volkepi and a jacket on, so clearly it's cold on his side of the desk. And Tolakele, I'd say you dress for the cold as well. Would that be fair? Jacket? Big warm winter jacket?
I'm actually a little bit like you, John, because technically I'm wearing a summer dress. I just put the jacket on in case it was cold.
Yeah, you never know. And that's the other thing. There are aircon wars in some studios, but there's no aircon wars here. One person decides on the temperature. Sorry, guys. So, Tolakele, we've been talking about movies, and Kabazela introduced it by saying, you know, that sometimes you can just give a single line and everybody knows what the movie is. Is there anything that comes to mind? Is there a movie that you can just sum up in a single sentence?
There's so many, because it's funny, when the voice notes were coming in ahead of my bulletin, I was like saying the movies as they go. But my favorite one is also because it's a motto I like to live by: show me the money.
Okay, Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
Give us one more.
I don't think you'll know this one.
Chances are very high.
Effie, we've all got pain.
What?
Effie, we've all got pain.
No, don't know it.
Dreamgirls.
Oh,
I knew you wouldn't know it.
No, I never saw that.
It's a very niche movie that, like, very few people have either watched the Beyonce version or watched the Broadway play. But that line, if you've watched the movie, it's iconic.
Okay, so mine, I've got a good few, but I'll just share this one. When Harry Met Sally, yes? Seen it? Nope.
Yes.
Okay. See it.
Meg Ryan.
It's a very good movie.
Okay.
Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan are in a coffee shop, and she says that it is quite possible for women to pretend that they are having an orgasm, and she begins to make the noises that she thinks proves that point. Everyone's looking around, and then a woman, an elderly woman at a nearby table, says to the waiter, "I'll have what she's having." Now, the interesting thing, 2 interesting things about that line. The one is that was actually the director's mom, Estelle Reiner, who was the mother of Rob Reiner. I think she was roped in at the last minute. And secondly, that line was never in the script. It wasn't in the script, and Billy Crystal somehow came up with it. I've heard 2 versions. One is Estelle Reiner came up with it, but I think the prevalent one is Billy Crystal actually just dipped into his deep, deep well of comic talent and came up with that. Please, guys, if you've got some movie lines that you just think are absolutely representative of a film, so much so that you don't even need to tell us what the flick is. Tyrone comes up with one. I'm not even going to try and do it. Nobody tries to do Jack Nicholson, although maybe Kabazela could be persuaded to. I want the truth. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson delivers that particular line. It's 11 minutes to 4.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John and the team. Mine goes like this. Welcome to South Africa. Will I see the lions running in the streets of Joburg? No. Only if they win the Curry Cup. That's Leon Schuster's Chabalala's Guide. Shorty having a conversation with a German tourist.
Man that I worked for ran one of the biggest companies in New York City. He didn't own it though. White man owned it, so they owned him. Nobody owns me though. That's Frank Lucas from American Gangster. My precious.
So prepare for the coup of the century. Be prepared for sensational news. A shiny new era is tiptoeing nearer. And where do we feature? Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sordid, and you'll be rewarded as soon as I'm given my due. Be prepared.
Yeah, great ones. Great performances of great movie lines. 702 Drive. When we come back, we're going to hopefully be chatting to our 702 colleague, Bongani Pingwa, who's not doing breakfast on Sunday. He's doing lunch. We'll tell you why.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today. What happened on the JSE? What's happening overseas? All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa for the historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 at Sunbet Arena, Times Square, from 26 July to 2 August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, live entertainment, premium hospitality, incredible food, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars live in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
Are you a legal practitioner looking to do your mediation course? Come and train in mediation with the Law Society of South Africa, the preferred leader in legal education with over 35 years of experience. We also offer advanced training, specialized skills development, and continuous legal education to ensure legal practitioners excel with competence and integrity. Stay ahead in your profession. Explore more courses at lssa.org.za. The Law Society of South Africa, leaders in legal education.
The world is moving fast. Consumer mindsets and preferences are changing in real time. AI is creating new rules, and timelines are shorter than ever. At Plus 94 Research, we help leaders reduce uncertainty. We deliver authentic, real-time data grounded in proven methodologies and powered by relevant, cutting-edge technology. So when decisions can't wait, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and impact. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jersey, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, many of you have been enjoying Master Chef each week and every week on ETV, and it is something that you can watch on Sundays at 6 p.m. Now, on all of our shows on 702 Drive, we've actually been chatting to people who participate, and some of them have been winners, some of them have been knocked out in the various elimination rounds, but we've been kind of part of the show, but at a little bit of a remove, except for this man. Bongani Pingwa, very good afternoon to you, taking a break from breakfast and going to MasterChef for lunch. What was that all about? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. It was really fantastic because what they did is they got a whole bunch of radio personalities from around the country. So there were people from 947. Obviously, I was there on behalf of 702. But other radio stations in other provinces, KZN, the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, we had presenters from KFM. And what they did is they did a challenge, a restaurant challenge. And so we were split into different teams. And or at least they were split into different teams. And the rest of us had to vote on the various courses they presented. And it was absolutely fantastic to be in the kitchen, to be on the set of MasterChef. And it's so much bigger than what you think and what you see on television. And in fact, I have it on good authority that our MasterChef is based on the Australian version, and our kitchen and our set is even bigger than that one. So it was absolutely fantastic.
So, Bongani, you've got to taste the food and judge. Did that get difficult? I can imagine that, because presumably there were different courses and you were presented with different things by the teams. And you say, oh, yes, I like this. And then what you really want to do is have more and forget about everything else, which presumably you can't.
Well, I mean, so imagine a 3-course meal prepared by 2 different teams, which ultimately means you have 6 courses. So you've got quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, seriously though, I mean, you generally one eats and you're enjoying yourself, there's company and there's so on. But this is something you've got to actually take quite seriously, and you've got to, chew and reflect and stare at the ceiling in meaningful ways while you figure out if you like not only this dish, but do you like it more than the dish you had before? I mean, fairly serious stuff, eh?
Look, I mean, I'm probably going to tell you a little of how the sausage is made.
Yes.
Because as you can imagine, with TV, because these things have to be shot in a particular way, they've got to be close-ups of the food, exactly as you say, your reactions as you roll your eyes or lick your lips, as the case may be. So by the time you actually taste the food, it's not as warm as it might be if I was eating it at your house or a restaurant, a real restaurant, because you've got to sort of, make it work for television. And I've worked in the medium for a long time, so I know how that works. But the food was absolutely delicious. It was knockout. And what was great about it is that they brought us in quite late into the season. So we were already, I think, in the top 10 when we, participated in this challenge. We didn't really judge, as it were. We just sat there and ate. I mean, it's a terrible thing to do. But somebody has to do it.
You spoke about the magic of TV, but also, obviously what goes into a production. Bongani, if I'd been there, the biggest continuity problem I might have presented is, did I bring an extra shirt of the identical color? Because if I really like food, I do tend to splash a little bit. No accidents on your part.
No, you do get a napkin.
You do
get
okay.
a MasterChef napkin, so that's all covered. Yeah.
And just finally, Bongani, I mean, these cooking shows, just people really, really enjoy them. The contestants clearly enjoy them, but nervous energy on the set, I would think there would be a fair bit.
Look, I have participated in a different cooking show.
Okay.
MasterChef takes it to a completely different level. You're not in your space. You're not using your own utensils. You're not using ingredients that might even be familiar to you. And even when you think you know how to make a particular dish with a particular ingredient, what's expected in the MasterChef's kitchen is gourmet style. You've almost got to prepare a Michelin star type of meal and present it and make it look like that. So the pressure on these contestants is absolutely enormous, because once they say go, I mean, you literally rush into the kitchen, the pantry, where all the ingredients are and all the utensils are, and it's just an explosion of choices and how these contestants decide what to do, what to use, and how much time to allocate to make sure that it's all done on time is an absolute feat. And my hat off to them, anybody who participates in MasterChef, because you think you can cook,
right? And
then there's MasterChef.
Thank you so much, Bongani Bingwa. Yet another reason to watch MasterChef on Sunday on ETV at 6 p.m. Bongani Bingwa, part of a larger group of radio stars joining the aspirant cooking stars. It sounds like a really excellent episode. Don't miss it. 7 o'clock. 7:02 drive. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Brown Mokhotsi resumes his testimony at the Madlanga Commission, and
I've seen speculations being made about the Integrity Commission and what it has decided. It is not decided.
The ANC's Integrity Committee yet to complete its report into Women's League president. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin in the capital where controversial figure Brown Mokgotsi has resumed his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. This follows the dismissal of his recusal application of Madlanga Commission Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskalson. Mokgotsi brought the application claiming Chaskalson tried to get him to testify against ANC businessman Suleiman Karim in exchange for immunity, but he later conceded that the Chief Evidence Leader did not promise him protection. The chair, Mbuyiseli Madlanga, handed down the decision this afternoon.
The application is dismissed. Reasons will be given during the course of next week, if not the week after. The effect of the dismissal of the application is that Mr. Mokgotsi's evidence will be heard today.
During the hearing, Mokgotsi was accused of being deliberately deceptive by deleting some of his WhatsApp records with the Chief Evidence Leader. Evidence Leader Adila Hassim says the exchanges show Mokgotsi was pursuing Chaskalson, claiming to have information against Karim.
To be clear, what he deleted was 6 calls to Mr. Chaskalson, which Mr. Chaskalson declined to answer. He therefore doesn't merely admit to deleting, he admits to curating the WhatsApp account, the WhatsApp record rather, selecting what he considered to be relevant and presenting only part of the picture to the Commission and making it appear authentic.
For live updates on the Commission, visit ewn.co.za or watch live proceedings on our YouTube channel. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has committed to helping with the repatriation of a family killed in a road accident involving his driver. On Saturday night, Beauty Shoperai and her 1-year-old son, Paul Masunda Jr., were killed after being struck by a car transporting the minister. Shoperai was trying to reach her husband, Paul Masunda, who had died in a similar fashion a few minutes earlier. Motsoaledi visited the family at their home in Belabela in Limpopo today. Tabiso Goba was there.
Prior to his death, Paul Masunda worked as a freelance handyman whose main source of income to support his family came from selling firewood. His family says they do not have the 75,000 rand required to repatriate them back home to Zimbabwe and have them buried in their hometown of Jerere. When Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi visited the family, he was accompanied by a small entourage of government officials from his department.
It's a tragedy that no human being could have expected. We came also because family needs repatriation back to Zimbabwe. And it so happened that coincidentally, the certification and arrangements to repatriate people across borders actually done by Port Health, which is in the Department of Health. So we're going to see what arrangements we can do for them.
The Zimbabwean consulate has also committed to expediting the process, with the family hoping to have a joint funeral next Tuesday. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
The ANC's National Executive says it's not yet received any recommendations from its Integrity Commission regarding the scandals surrounding the president of its Women's League, Sisisi Tolashe. Yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa fired Tolashe as Social Development Minister amid revelations that she diverted a donation of cars meant for the ANC Women's League to her children, claiming she was protecting them from being seized by the ANC's creditors. Today, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said the party would respect the president's decision and would not delve into the reasons why she was dismissed. Lindsay Detlinger has more.
Besides questions about appointments in her personal office and the alleged mistreatment of a state employee, Sisisi Tolashe did not declare vehicle donations to Parliament, saying they were not hers but the Women's League's. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the Integrity Commission is yet to finalise and submit its report to him on this matter.
So I've seen speculations here been made about the Integrity Commission and what it has decided. It is not decided.
Mbalula says President Cyril Ramaphosa would have acted on credible information and does not owe the party reasons for sacking Tolashe.
Human beings are not infallible. They commit mistakes. But when they do, action on the part of the person who happens to be the president, he can take any decision.
He says the party has well-qualified and competent ministers in all its portfolios, and challenges sometimes do arise. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And questions are growing over the role of the main armed players in Sudan's devastating civil war as millions of people face displacement, hunger and widespread violence. The conflict began in April 2023 between the Sudanese armed forces led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the paramilitary rapid support forces led by General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemeti. The war has since spread across large parts of the country, including Khartoum, Darfur, with human rights groups
groups and United Nations agencies reporting attacks on civilians, the destruction of hospitals and schools, and growing food insecurity. Mungezi Koko takes a look.
More than 14 million people have been displaced since the start of the war, making it the largest displacement crisis in the world. The United Nations also estimates that more than 30 million people now require humanitarian assistance across Sudan. Children continue to be among the hardest hit, with UNICEF warning of child recruitment by armed groups, widespread hunger and serious rights violations in parts of Darfur, where some communities remain cut off from aid. The conflict has also drawn growing international concern over the role of external players accused of backing different sides in the war, further complicating efforts to secure a lasting ceasefire. Defense analyst Ricardo Teixeira described the situation as the world's largest humanitarian crisis.
There is clearly coordination happening on either side, and some of the competing interests are falling into distinct groups. It doesn't bode well for peace.
Mungezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
Gold's trading at $4,526.61 an ounce. The rand's at 16.69 to the dollar, at 22.27 to the pound, at 19.40 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $108.55 a barrel.
Driving through Alexandra heading towards Germiston, expect about an hour delay. N3 South between the Patrol Change and Van Buren. Also traveling through the Joburg CBD heading towards Boysons, there's about a 30-minute delay on the M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange, and in Onderstepoort, roadworks causing heavy delays. N4 eastbound between Roslyn and Bravery Road.
In your sport, a deflated Mamelodi Sundowns looking for a CAF Champions League boost. Arna Slot admits that Liverpool's away Premier League record has been nowhere near good enough. And Vasily Lomachenko ends his year-long retirement from boxing.
A look at your weather. A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng. Tomorrow, Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 8 degrees and peak at highs of 22. Pretoria is at 11 and 23. Vereeniging is at 6 and 21 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Controversial figure Brown Mokhotsi has resumed his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive. It's good to have you with us on the show. The second hour of 7:02 Drive. And there's plenty coming up that I'm sure you're going to find interesting and enjoy. We're going to be talking at 10 to 5, as we always do, to Randall Abrams. This is our weekly feature, Randall's One Song. And then we're going to focus our attention on a specific aspect of one of the stories you've just heard Maki Molapo deal with in the news bulletin. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi visiting the family that has gone through that absolute trauma and tragedy of not one but 3 family members being killed in separate accidents on the M1. And we're going to look at the implications for people when there is an accident with fatal consequences like that. So many people have been traumatized. Firstly, those who are bereaved, people who witnessed the accident, and then there would be trauma as well for the driver and the occupants of the vehicle involved in the crash. We're going to get perspective on that when we talk to trauma counsellor Venetia Gordon Narotam. That's coming up a little bit later in the show. After 5, Department of Correctional Services has been paying insane amounts for kitchen supplies for various prisons. We'll talk to Minister of Correctional Services, Dr. Peter Groenewald. At what point did the minister and the ministry become aware of this massive abuse of public money? We'll do that interview around 5 o'clock. Later and finally in the show, a songbook and a dish. We do it every Friday. Our songbook dish person today makes songs himself, Wouter Kellerman, flautist, composer, multi-Grammy Award winner, joining us for that at 20 to 6. On a lighter note, we did ask you a little bit earlier, movie lines that, with just one line, sum up or clearly identify a film Some of you had thoughts on that.
Hello, John. Mine is his family seemingly marry and die with numbing regularity. The late Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, this is Annie from Pretoria. My favorite line is from Cool Runnings. Sanka, you're dead, man.
Hey, good afternoon, John. It's Gabriel. Lines from movies. Well, here's one. That's napalm, Sergeant. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Do not try to bend the spoon. That is impossible. Instead, try to recognize the truth. What is the truth? That there is no spoon. And in time, you'll find it is you that needs to bend.
Hi, John. If I'm away from you more than an hour, I can't stop thinking about you. I carry you in my spirit. I pray for you more than I pray for myself.
One of my all-time favorite lines from a movie. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of people recognizing it over the years. But this was a classic. From Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins saying, "I'm having an old friend for dinner."
Oh, and napalm in the morning is from Apocalypse Now. I'm just Googling the spoon one, an iconic line according to Google from The Matrix. Yeah, 1999. Thanks for those. Keep them coming. We are enjoying them. I get the feeling you're enjoying it too. 13 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get the latest then from out on the roads. Karabo Chali is keeping an eye on things. Good afternoon.
Yes, John, at this stage in Alexandra, heading towards Bedford View, you can expect about an hour delay. N3 southbound between the Patroon Exchange and Van Buren in the Joburg CBD. Also expect about a 30-minute delay traveling towards the Poisons. M1 south from Killarney Bend to the Crown Interchange, while in Sunwood Park, traffic remains sluggish on Rondebolt Road, approaching North Boundary Road. In Waterkloof, Pretoria, bumper-to-bumper traffic, N1 northbound. This is between the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange and the Proof Plus Interchange due to ongoing roadworks. We also have roadworks in Onderstepoort. This is roadworks causing delays on the N4 eastbound between Roslyn and Bravery Road. If you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic is sluggish. This is in the Hermanstad area on Eskiam Pahlele between Vomhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Mzansi, great things can happen when you play Powerball Plus for the mind-blowing 90 million rand estimated jackpot, while Powerball stands at an estimated 85 million rand jackpot this Friday. That's right, play Powerball Plus for an estimated 90 million rand and Powerball for an estimated 85 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa for the historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 at Sunbet Arena, Times Square. It takes place from 26 July to 2 August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, live entertainment, premium hospitality, incredible food, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars live in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
Illegal water connections have serious consequences for the city's water supply. When pipelines are tampered with, it damages infrastructure, reduces system pressure, and can leave entire communities without water. Johannesburg Water continues to remove illegal connections and strengthen monitoring across the network to protect supply. Residents are encouraged to report illegal connections or suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg on 0800 002 587. Protect our water infrastructure. Protect our water supply. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
If you're a fan of the beautiful game, you'll recognize this. And this. But what about this? It's your chance to score big time. Win your share of up to 2 million rand with Standard Bank. It's game day every day. To enter, open and use any qualifying Standard Bank account, in-app or in branch. Already a Standard Bank customer? Sign up for Standard Bank Connect online to get a bonus entry. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this boat.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, for much of this week, we've been reflecting on a tragedy on the N1 near Bila Bila, a fatal accident, not just one, but two. First of all, Paul Masunda killed crossing the N1 by the driver, off-duty, but an off-duty policeman. And then as his wife, Beauty Shoparai, who was on her way to Zimbabwe in a bus with her 1-year-old son, also called Paul, they came back when alerted to do so by their 14-year-old son who'd witnessed the death of his father. They too were killed by a vehicle that was being driven by a member of the Police Protection Security Services and Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi. Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, as I'm sure you know, was a passenger in that vehicle. So where do trauma counsellors begin working in an accident scene like this? Particularly as there's so many people, I would think, who've been severely affected. Obviously, people who witnessed the tragedy, especially the 14-year-old young man who witnessed not one death but two, and all of them involving his family. I'm sure the driver or drivers of the vehicles will have their own traumas to deal with, and then, of course, anyone who is a passenger in the vehicles being driven. It's a lot to take in, but let's try and get some guidance as we pull through it and try and unpack some of the threads. We welcome to 702 Drive Vanisha Godan Narotam, who is a registered counsellor. A very good afternoon to you, and thanks so much for giving us your time. I want to start with the 14-year-old young man because it's for me, it's unimaginable to try and get my head around what exactly he's seen and would be going through now. As a counsellor, what is he in for and how might he be helped? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. And you're absolutely right? When we're talking about a young person that has experienced multiple traumas within a short space of time, you're thinking that what resilience do they have? What are they thinking in that moment? Are they actually processing or are they still in shock? So there's lots to actually unpack. And I think definitely for him to, be attending a counseling session, either with a trauma counselor, debriefing, and then maybe getting into the process of attending counseling sessions quite regularly. Because remember, trauma doesn't affect us in all the same way.
Yes.
It's completely different. Each person experiences the same trauma in completely different extremes. So some of us, a loved one passes away and we're like, okay, all right, this has happened. Let's think practical and continue processing and doing all the activities. Whereas you get another person who will experience the death of a loved one and be in complete shock.
Right.
and won't be able to function. So those are the two extremes, right? But in between, there's also different levels.
Absolutely. So one of the things that struck me, I mean, when we have tragedies in our country, invariably we hear that counseling is being provided. The thing that strikes me, though, is the triggers for recurring trauma are absolutely unpredictable. So this young man may find himself traveling and sees a vehicle going what he believes to be too fast, and he suddenly feels unsafe. He may not be with somebody who is able to provide him with the kind of support he needs. I mean, is there any way that we can build in support for the absolute unknown? I think all we know is that it's bound to happen. How it happens is probably unclear.
And that's very true. And I like that you mentioned the word triggers, right? Because we don't know what would actually be a trigger. You mentioned one, right? Being in the car or being around cars. But it could also be smell.
Yes.
It can also be, a vision. He could also, in time, if he doesn't receive the proper counseling, the proper processing of emotions and things like that, he actually might then be a candidate to actually, and I say candidate, but I don't mean it like that, but he'd be like the perfect example of a person who will experience PTSD. So then you're having the flashbacks a year from now, experiencing flashbacks, not able to maybe even sit in the car, not able to maybe even, go on a highway.
Right.
And then only you get some people that have been in accidents on the highway and now only drive in residential roads.
Right.
And that does happen. And that's the impact of trauma, right? It affects our quality of life. It affects how we live our lives. It also affects how we see things.
Right. Not in any way to comment on the rights and wrongs of what happened if indeed these come out, but there's obviously an inquiry around the driver's contact. But I would think for the driver, and if there was another police protection, VIP security protection person, presumably sitting in the front, the minister was sitting in the back, but there would be trauma for them as well. They have been involved in an incident that has led to a loss of life, and perhaps most painfully, the loss of life of a 1-year-old child. Where does work with them begin?
Absolutely. And that's a huge highlighted factor, right? Because we talk about the victims and the loss of loved ones, but the people that are driving the cars, or often, and I don't want to use the word perpetrator, but you know what I'm saying, the person that's driving the car, the one that actually, it is in essence their fault. An accident is an accident. I'd just like to say that. I'm not saying that anyone's at fault, but the thing is that it's important to realize that they also might be affected quite badly, because it's, of course, you're going to feel guilt, right? It's replaying your actions, trying to also process what had happened in the past. And how many of us, right, when we're driving, say you're driving down a road that you drive on every day.
Yes.
Right? You're driving down the road. Sometimes you might be a little bit on autopilot.
Absolutely.
And that can actually happen. So them actually trying to remember might also be something that they need help with. So I would definitely, give them some counseling and afford them some time to actually be able to process what has happened, because it can actually affect them quite long term, maybe not in the moment, but long term, because now they're probably in practical mode, right?
Yeah.
Crisis management mode.
I want to just ask you this more broadly and draw on your huge experiences as a counselor. It must be very hard to realize, but perhaps your training and your practice has given you a sense of longer timelines. But one would really like to be able to say, if we carry on with this long enough, people will feel better. But there's no certainty in that, which is not a reason not to try. But I would imagine healing can be incredibly slow.
You are right. There is no certainty. And it's also the right fit, right, with the counselor. Are you meeting with the right counselor? Do you feel connected to this person? Are they helping you process? Are you feeling that you're safe within that space of counseling. And that all matters when it comes to healing and when it comes to counseling. Yes, there's no timeline, but there are slow and processing steps that you can take to actually manage the way that you feel. So remember, it's also not about avoiding a trigger. It's about managing and coping with the trigger. So it's about being able to get into the car and maybe have your safety mechanisms and your coping skills in your toolbox that you can use. Say, for example, if someone's driving too fast and you feel like, you know what, Nia, I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now. The activity is that my coping skill is that, okay, what is my next step? I'm going to go on the side of the road and I'm maybe just going to stop there for a few minutes. Maybe I have something in my car that I smell that helps me reset and helps me feel a little bit better. Maybe it's a song. You know, you're sitting in the car, you're always listening to music. Maybe it's a prayer that you say if you're religious. It can be anything.
Thank you so much, Venetia Gordon Narotaman. And I'm sure many of you who, by the way, is a registered counsellor, talking to us about the kind of trauma counselling that many people are going to need after those tragic crashes, accidents on the N1. And maybe you've had this experience yourself. Maybe you've been involved in an accident and there was a period where you needed to recover from the trauma of that. Maybe you work in this space and do the kind of work that Venetia does and was explaining so clearly to us there. Please feel free to join in. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 27 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, before we get into the markets, which, judging by the numbers, we could probably give a miss, but of course we can't. We're asking about a single movie line that's you know, just draws you straight back into the flick.
Sure. I mean, obviously James Bond, but everyone will probably say something along those lines. There are one or two. I always loved. I've never watched the whole movie, but I think it's on the waterfront and it's Marlon Brando, and I think I could have been somebody instead of what I am.
I could have been a contender.
Could have been a contender. That's it. I could have been somebody. Could have been a contender instead of what I am, which is, I think,
powerful.
A punk. I think it is in the end, or a something, he says. But I mean, it's that moment, and I mean, the acting was incredibly powerful just in the scene. You can see it on YouTube because it's so it's so reflective of someone looking back on his life with some disappointment, and you don't see that very often, actually, then or now, being reflected. So that would be something that I think would be the other is from Die Hard, but I'm not going to say it here.
Okay, good.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Somebody sent me a line, by the way, from 50 Shades of Grey, and I have a two-part question. Did you really expect me to read that? And the other is, did you actually expect me to read that? Anyway, same question, but slightly different emphasis. Stephen, a rough day, huh?
Yes, I'm sure the JSE is someone's safe word. We could have done with that today because the JSE All Share down 2.6% at 114,315 points, partly because gold is slightly up. I think markets, and particularly the US, are beginning to realize that there's this thing called inflation and that fuel prices are very important to that. And while oil is not up that dramatically, we've seen the currency come off, we've seen the All Share go down, and we've seen platinum in particular softened by around 4%. So the All Share down 2.6, financials down 1.4, industrials down 0.12, and resources down 6% on the day. Reunert, they are the industrial company. They make electrical cabling, they make electronics, they are involved in the defense industry. They really have crashed today. They're down 13%. They did say there would be a sharp drop in headline earnings. There's been lower demand for electrical cables here and in Zambia, partly because the construction industry has seen less demand. Talking of which, Stefanuti Stocks reporting its profits for the last financial year will jump around 200%, partly because of the settlement it reached with Eskom over the Kusile Power Station project. Eskom paid them 580 million rand as part of that settlement. And then we see African Rainbow Minerals down 7%, Pan-African Resources, Goldfields, Implats, Valterra all down by around 7%, and the other mine is really taking a tumble today. You know, yesterday, John, I could not understand why Karoo was down so dramatically when it was a pretty strong update, but it's up today, it's up 7%. They're the car electronics company. Think, of course, of car tracking devices. Sasol up 4.2 on higher oil prices. Naspers and Prosus both up by around 1%. Pick and Pay, second day in a row, they're up 1.35. And some of the other consumer companies, Dis-Chem, Woolworths, ShopRite and Clicks, all up a little bit on the day as well. In the US, as I say, the market beginning to discover inflation. So strong PPI numbers out, higher than expected on Wednesday. The day before that, stronger than expected CPI numbers. The fuel prices not coming down. And the summit in China maybe not quite living up to some hopes. The Dow Jones down 0.91, the Nasdaq down 1.74, the S&P 500 down 1.2. The gold price, $4,536.37 an ounce. Platinum, $1,981.20. Brent crude, $108.20. And then the rand down a bit, John. 16.66 to the dollar, 19.36 to the euro, 22.23 to the British pound. More news, misery, and hopefully a movie line in an hour. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
702 Drive. Thank you, Stephen. Back with us at about 25 minutes past 5. At 29 minutes to 5, Mark Mulapo joins us with the very latest news.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. We begin in KwaZulu-Natal, where the Pinetown Magistrates Court has ruled that Member of Parliament Fadil Adams is not a flight risk. Adams was granted 10,000 rand bail in his case, where he's alleged to have tampered with police investigations. Adams is charged with fraud and defeating the ends of justice following allegations that he disrupted police investigations into the high-profile murder case of Sindiso Magaqa, an ANC politician killed in 2017. The state had argued against his release on bail, citing that he evaded arrest when summoned to appear before a Durban court. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
The state alleges that his actions after becoming aware of the warrant of arrest was catch me if you can. And yes, the video clips played do indicate that prior to the 4th of May, Mr. Adams was aware that there was a warrant of arrest out for him.
Delivering her ruling, Magistrate Gwendolyn Robertson read a summary of the state's case, including evidence about Fadil Adams' behavior towards the criminal justice system. She also went through arguments by the defense, including his willingness to comply with bail regulations if granted bail. She granted the accused bail for 10,000 rand.
In considering the evidence placed before me, I am then satisfied that you are a suitable candidate to be released on bail.
Adams has been warned to reside in addresses provided to the court, report whenever he's traveling outside Cape Town, and report to a nearby police station twice a week. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Pinetown.
Former banker and alleged cocaine dealer Raid Cupido has failed in a third attempt to be granted bail in the Cape Town Regional Court. Cupido, a former Standard Bank manager, was dismissed from his post following his arrest in June last year. Members of the anti-gang unit caught Cupido in possession of 15 bricks of cocaine worth an estimated 18 million rand, along with several firearms and ammunition at a storage facility in Ruland Street. The prosecution described Cupido and his co-accused Christopher Carolser as first receivers for drugs smuggled into Cape Town. Carlo Peterson has more.
Lawyer for Raid Cupido, Andre Johnston, set out to convince Judge Amori Graaf there were new facts to consider for his client to be granted bail. Johnston told the court since Cupido's arrest in June last year, his wife and children have suffered emotional and mental strain, while the family's Uber business was being mismanaged due to the accused incarceration. Johnston also argued the investigating officer had misled the court by withholding evidence related to the charges he faces. State Prosecutor Greg Vormerans argued against Cupido's release on bail.
It is clear Mr. Cupido has not put up an arguable defense to these charges regarding his presence in Unit 868 and the drugs and the guns found there.
Judge Graaf dismissed the application, saying she found no new facts to grant Cupido bail. The matter is set down for plea and trial on the 27th of May. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Cape Town Regional Court.
And David Beckham has become Britain's first billionaire sportsman. According to the 2026 Sunday Times Rich List, Beckham and wife Victoria now have a combined fortune estimated at more than 1.1 billion euros. The former Manchester United and England captain built his wealth through football, business ventures and major brand partnerships, while Victoria's fashion label also contributed significantly. The Rich List places the Beckhams second among Britain's wealthiest sports figures, behind the family of former Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone. Other top sporting names on the list include seven-time Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton, golf star Rory McIlroy, boxer Anthony Joshua, and heavyweight rival Tyson Fury. A look at your weather. It's said to be clear skies in Gauteng tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 6 and 8 degrees and peak at highs between 21 and 23 degrees.
In Alex, at this hour, you can expect about a 30-minute delay N3 south or between the Patlu interchange and Van Buren, while in Waterkloof, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic N1 north from the R21 Flying Saucer interchange all the way to the Proof Plus interchange, and in Montana, Pretoria, traffic pressure on Sefako-Makgato Drive between Enkeldoorn and the N1.
The top story in Eyewitness News. The Pinetown Magistrates Court has ruled that Member of Parliament Fadil Adams is not a flight risk.
In business, missed deliveries cost more than money. Go Girl Logistics is South Africa's 100% black female-owned Level 1 Triple BEE powerhouse, delivering secure, time-sensitive transport for parcels, cold chain cargo, and compliance waste. With DG trained drivers, cold chain certification, national reach, and real-time tracking, every load is handled professionally, safely, and on time. Go Girl Logistics. Power beyond cargo. Visit gogirl-logistics.com.
I'm Dealer here with more than just a betting app ad. Download the 10Bet app and enjoy the action of betting anytime, anywhere. It's more than just an app. It's a 10Bet experience. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
You continue to send us movie lines. This a couple from Monique. She offers Clint Eastwood, Make My Day, in Dirty Harry. This one from Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. And quite a few of you highlighting Rhett Butler, Clark Gable in Gone with the Wind. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's 22 minutes now to 5 o'clock. Let's catch up with the sport.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, a very good afternoon to you. Over to you.
Thanks so much, John. And after years of near misses, Divine Lunga believes that Mamelodi Sundowns are now ready to be the kings of African football. They take on AS FAR in the first leg of the CAF Champions League final on Sunday, looking to win this trophy for the second time in 10 years. The team's quest for glory is also an attempt to erase memories of last year's final defeat to Pyramids.
We have learned so much, how the game is played in Champions League. It's not they're not playing most open game. We will try even to go 50-50 because usually we normally want to play them. They don't want to play. They want to score on and then they defend. So I think we have learned so much in Champions League how the game are being played. So I think we're gonna do our best to try and match them.
Chelsea will look to salvage their season by winning the FA Cup when they clash with Manchester City in the final tomorrow. The campaign had begun with so much promise for the Blues after winning the FIFA Club World Cup, but they're now looking to quell unrest by winning their first domestic trophy in 8 years. Form is not on their side, however, as Chelsea sit ninth in the Premier League standings, having failed to win any of their last 7 games.
Our recent form in the league has been way below the standard we'd expect and that we'd showed previously.
It's an FA Cup final, so we want to win it. It's a massive competition, prestigious. This club's got history in that competition as well, winning it 8 times. So, our focus is on that, performing as well as we can against the top side.
Michael Carrick has confirmed that Casemiro will play one last game at Old Trafford on Sunday when Manchester United host Nottingham Forest in their final home clash of the Premier League season. He had been in injury doubt after missing last weekend's goalless draw with Sunderland, sparking fears that his United career could already be over. It's already been confirmed that the Brazilian will leave the club at the end of the season after 4 years in the red half of Manchester.
He's been fantastic for us, for me personally, for us as a group. I think what he's given us, I've said it before, I think the clarity helps of knowing the situation, and for him and for us for him to get his head in the place of where he give absolutely everything in every aspect, knowing that it was going to come to an end at the end of the season. I think, like I've said before, it's credit to him for the way he's gone about that, and just because it's coming to the end and there's clarity with it, it's easy to go the other way as well, but he's fully invested, he's fully supported.
And Emma Raducanu has reunited with coach Andrew Richardson, who helped guide her to the US Open title as a teenage qualifier on a permanent basis. Raducanu and Richardson are formally working together in Strasbourg in preparation for the WTA clay court season, which is the final warm-up event before the French Open. The pair have agreed to a full-time partnership, meaning that Raducanu intends to be guided by the Brits at Wimbledon and beyond. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
19 minutes to 5. Let's catch up then with what exactly is going on in the traffic. If you're in and around Alexandra, it sounds like it's pretty tight. Karabo Chale has the details.
Yeah, in Alex, you can expect about an hour delay, John. This is heading towards the Germiston area, N3 South from the Batoon Interchange to Van Buren. In the Joburg CBD, also about a 30-minute delay. This is traveling towards Boyson's M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. Sunwood Park. Traffic remains sluggish heading into Dawn Park. That's on Rondebolt Road, approaching North Boundary Road. In Tshwane, Waterkloof, bumper traffic N1 North from the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange to the Proof Plus Interchange. Onderstepoort, roadwork still causing delays. This is on the N4 eastbound between Roslyn and Bravery Road, while in Groenkloof expect about a 20-minute delay on the R21 in both directions. This is between Solomon Mahlangu and the Fountain Circle. And in Hermanstad, there's also slow-moving traffic. This is on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormhagen and the R80. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. So the Madlanga Commission is very busy at the moment. Brown Mukhotsi, a political fixer, businessman, never sure how to describe him, to that list of titles add self-proclaimed or genuinely so police informer. Yeah, all of that has come up in connection with his name. Today he is before the Madlanga Commission. It's been quite a day of contention with him at one point saying he wasn't going to answer questions that would incriminate him. But the point about Madlanga today is they're winding up. Not forever, but they're going to take a break and produce their second interim report. And then they continue, I think, all the way into August. I'll double check that date for you. And I thought it's a good moment to actually just ask you a fairly straightforward question. What have you made of the commission so far? I watch it with a high level of interest. I'm pretty sure I would watch it whether I was a journalist or not, because I really do enjoy watching smart legal people trying to get answers out of people who very often are less than forthcoming, and when they are, it's often with detail that isn't always related to the question that's been asked. I think it's been fascinating to watch. So, two-part question. What do you think of the Madlanga Commission so far? Does it give you any kind of confidence that there are still parts of our criminal justice system that have teeth? And from the cast of characters that we've seen, evidence leaders, attorneys, and then the three commissioners themselves, Commissioner Baloy, Sisi Baloy, Commissioner Kumalo, and obviously the Chief Commissioner, Justice Mboiseli Madlanga. Out of all those characters, who's given you confidence? Who's given you a sense of hope? And by the way, you don't have to pick one, but I'd be interested to know. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Tolakela, I don't know how much of the commission you've got to watch in passing? I know you're busy with a very distinct and different area of our offering on 702, but have you had a chance to watch? And if you have, some thoughts?
You know, honestly, John, I haven't watched. I do see maybe if Mbali's doing the bulletin, I listen to like little drips and drabs, and then Thabiso Goba when he has the Q&As. But a lot of it is like the funny clips because they also get posted into the work WhatsApp account. So he's also posting like those funny things to keep us like intricate. And there's so many moving parts. It's so hard to keep up. I'll just wait for the final report. I don't need a third version of the draft report. Once we're at the end and people actually go to jail, if they ever go to jail, let me know about that one because that's the only part I'm interested in.
We'll be sure to let you know, but you make an important point about the intricacy of it. And if you're not able to follow particular threads, quite difficult. Fortunately, we've had Thabiso Goba, Khomotso, Modise, Alpha Ramashwan and others coming in and helping to put the different pieces of the puzzle together. How about you, Karabo Charlie? Any thoughts?
Yeah, during my leave, I used to binge watch a lot of the Madlanga Commission. And despite the shocking testimonies we've heard from witnesses, I'm kind of hopeful that we're going to get somewhere. I'm encouraged by the number of arrests already. 12 senior officers arrested for the Medicare 24, Julius Mukwanazi, who would have thought, and Fani Nkosi as well. So it's high profile people who are being arrested, and hopefully justice will be served.
Okay, so a couple of different views on the Madlanga Commission. Let's get yours. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes now to 5.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Randall's one song in a moment, but I just want to update you on something else. You may remember that the board of NSFAS, the body that sees to the funding of students in tertiary, was put under administration. Now, there was quite a bit of contention around that, particularly from people who were board members, and it was said that they would be going to court. Well, now they have. They've tabled a 190-page affidavit, and among the respondents, obviously, would be the Minister of Higher Education. This is going to be a very interesting court matter indeed. Now, that affidavit, statement to the court is now available, and we've been having a look at some of it. And I'll just share with you some of it. We did ask the board members if they would come on, their legal representative. No, on both counts, we asked the minister to come on. I suspect now that it's before the court. Nobody's going to be coming forward. But let me just share with you this, which I think will raise some eyebrows. It certainly raised mine. So, point 56, they say on the 11th of April of this year, the minister, through his chief of staff, invited the board to a meeting. And a number of board members went, and they attended this meeting. Now, listen to this. No agenda for the meeting was shared, either in advance of or at the meeting. On our arrival, our phones were confiscated. The meeting was not recorded. No Secretariat of NSFAS was present. It was apparent, and I'm quoting directly now, it was apparent that the minister did not want a formal record of the meeting. At the meeting, the minister told us that the board should not move forward with the process of the appointment of the CEO. The board had decided on who their preferred candidate was. I'm just adding that by way of additional information. He informed us that we should wait for his directions. He gave us no opportunity, quote, to respond or object to his position. Now, this is what they say in this regard. The minister's conduct was a matter of great concern to us. It was clear that he sought to interfere in the appointment of the CEO and disrupt the internal process that the board had undertaken in this regard. Such interference and direction was unlawful. It is for the board, not the minister, to administer the NSFAS and to appoint its executives. So that story will play out in court. I think it goes to court in the first week of June, if I'm not mistaken. And you can be sure we'll have lots of coverage of that. 10 minutes to 4.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Right, let's get into some music because we do this every Friday and we look forward to it and we welcome to the show as we always do it this time on a Friday. Randall Abrams for Randall's One Song. Randall, very good afternoon to you. We're going with jazz this week, an American great but collaborating with some giants from Brazil. What have you picked? Good afternoon to you.
So I've picked Stan Getz, and I thought, John, we haven't done instrumental music in a while. We're also, moving from autumn into winter, so this album is called Sweet Rain. I don't know that listeners in Cape Town might agree that the rain has been sweet over the past week, but it's quite an autumnal sound. It came out in 1967, rather, on the very, very famous Verve label. And there are two important elements. The one, of course, is Stan Getz, who appears on the world-famous bossa nova track, "The Girl from Ipanema." It was actually the album Getz Gilberto that brought bossa nova to the world, as it were. And also I wanted to make mention of the producer who was working with him at the time, Creed Taylor, who also produced the Getz Gilberto album, and also, amongst other things, brought John Coltrane to Verve, and then recorded Bill Evans at Verve as well, and went on to start his own label called CTI. Some very, very successful albums with George Benson in the 1970s. It's a very specific type of sound. It's very chilled out. The musicians are fantastic. A very young Chick Corea, who was only 25, on piano, Grady Tate on drums, and Ron Carter on bass. And just, if you want to get into jazz, there are lots of albums you can listen to, but this would be a very nice way in order to initiate yourself.
Stan Getz and a stellar cast. Let's take a listen. Very, very smooth sounds there of Stan Getz, and as I said, the stellar cast that he put around him to make that music. Randall, Brazilian music and American jazz artists, that's been a very fruitful relationship from the little bit I know about it. Is that each of them subtly changing each other, or each doing their own thing and seeing how it fits?
I think in this case, John, it was, Getz had traveled to Brazil, in fact, and his nickname was the Sound. So that very kind of round, not too breathy, but breathy at times saxophone sound. And certainly, I mean, the two have influenced one another. The one, without the type of sales that you saw with an album like Getz Gilberto, one has to wonder whether or not Bossa Nova specifically would have been as impactful all around the world. That's the one question. And the other issue is that I think that American music, worldwide music's definitely been influenced by, a lot of Brazilian music. It's continued to happen. But again, in the case of Bossa Nova, I mean, the success of that record meant that Antonio Carlos Jobim, the composer's songs were heard around the world, and he went on to make an album with Frank Sinatra. So I think that definitely not only influential from a musical point of view, but certainly from a sales and from a cultural point of view.
In terms of jazz artists, I mean, I just Googled out of interest best jazz musicians of all time, and of course you get dozens of lists, and all the lists are different. Have you ever got into that? I mean, for example, does Stan Getz find himself in the top 10 on most lists? And a much more important question, does it actually matter?
Firstly, lists are for anoraks, and secondly, music is not football. In a football game, you can win 3-1, and if you get more points than anybody else, you'll win the league. Music isn't like that. Music is, I'm not saying there isn't what I would call bad music.
Yes.
But why I wouldn't want to compare Getz and Coltrane, because they operate on very different planes. They both play the same instrument, but what they are seeking, from a musical point of view, at the very least, is quite different. And even if it were the same thing that they were seeking, they go about it in very different ways. So, I mean, if you listen to an Avant Coltrane album like Ascension, it's not going to sound anything like a Getz, like the album that we're just playing now, right? Sweet Rain. But both musicians are in search of, I would think, some level of transcendence, as it were, because especially by bringing Chick Corea in, he was very, very young at the time, only 25. It seems as though Getz wasn't just happy making a record. He wanted to kind of go somewhere, as it were, and that's why he brought Chick into the group as a young musician who was kind of still seeking to go a certain place.
Yeah, and just out of interest, for what it's worth, I just happened to look at the Jazz Fuel top 42. It has Miles Davis at the top, and it has Stan Getz at number 27. Okay, let me take my anorak off because it's getting warm in here, and let's hear from one of our listeners.
I appreciate Randall's versatility in music. And it's very seldom, extremely seldom, that he taps into jazz. And for him to have jazz today, it's just commendable. Thank you so much. I love this part of the show. Thank you.
Yeah, Randall, real appreciation for what you do with us every week. And let me just echo that as well. Randall's One Song with Randall Abrams. We will be back with that at the same time next Friday.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection, because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
It's another girl.
Yes. Families multiply, fees shouldn't. With Ultimate Banking, you get support for every chapter.
Get discounted banking for your spouse and give each of your children a head start with a Mega U account. Because as your family grows, your banking should keep up. Apply online. Your story matters. ABSA. Terms and conditions apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services provider.
Experience pure country allure as a VIP at this year's Hollywood Bets Durban July with Spina Zonke. Stand a chance to win VIP experiences or a share of 1.2 million rand in cash. Bet 2 rand or more on selected slots to enter. This is your moment. Release your spirit, release your victory, release your glamour with Spina Zonke. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 13 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S. Changan. Driven to evolve.
This is EWN.
Brown Mokhotsi uncooperative at the Madlanga Commission and Gautrain freezes ticket prices for the year. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin in the capital where controversial figure Brown Mokhotsi has repeatedly told the Madlanga Commission that he does not want to incriminate himself as a response to answers posed to him. This follows the Commission's decision to dismiss his application for the recusal of Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskalson. Mokhotsi brought the application claiming that Chaskalson tried to get him to implicate Northwest businessman Suleiman Karim, but the Commission has dismissed the application. Has more.
When the Madlanga Commission dismissed Brown Mokhotsi's application for the recusal of Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskalson today, he addressed the Commission on what he perceives to be unfair treatment towards his lawyers. He then resorted to saying he refuses to incriminate himself to all questions posed to him. But the Commission's chair, Mbuyiseli Madlanga, then made him aware of the legal implications.
There's also provision in the regulations. Both create an offense if a witness that has been sworn in fails to answer fully and satisfactorily.
Mokhotsi has given the same answer this afternoon to all the questions posed to him.
I'm not going to incriminate myself.
Commissioner Sesibaloyi has alerted Mokhotsi of the difference between refusing to incriminate himself and refusing to give an answer. Khomzo Modise, Eyewitness News.
In KwaZulu-Natal, the Pinetown Magistrates Court has ruled that Member of Parliament Fadil Adams is not a flight risk. Adams was granted 10,000 rand bail in his case where he's alleged to have tampered with police investigations. Adams is charged with fraud and defeating the ends of justice following allegations that he disrupted police investigations into the high-profile murder case of Cindy Somagaqa, an ANC politician killed in 2017. The state had argued against his release on bail, citing that he evaded arrest when summoned to appear before a Durban court. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
The state alleges that his actions after becoming aware of the warrant of arrest was catch me if you can, and yes, the video clips played do indicate that prior to the 4th of May, Mr. Adams was aware that there was a warrant of arrest out for him.
Delivering her ruling, Magistrate Gwendolyn Robertson read a summary of the state's case, including evidence about Fadil Adams' behavior towards the criminal justice system. She also went through arguments by the defense, including his willingness to comply with bail regulations if granted bail. She granted the accused bail for 10,000 rand.
In considering the evidence placed before me, I am then satisfied that you are a suitable candidate to be released on bail.
Adams has been warned to reside in addresses provided to the court, report whenever he's traveling outside Cape Town, and report to a nearby police station twice a week. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Pinetown.
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says the law must take its course in the fatal road crash involving his driver, which claimed the lives of a mother and her toddler. On Saturday night, Beauty Shoparai and her 1-year-old son, Paul Masunda Jr., were killed after being struck by a car transporting the minister. Shoparai was trying to reach her husband, Paul Masunda, who had died in a similar fashion a few minutes earlier. Motsoaledi visited the family at their home in Belabela in Limpopo. Tabiso Goba was there.
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says on the day of the accident, he was sitting in the back of a car. Motsoaledi says he gave a statement to the police along with his driver. Eyewitnesses and responders who spoke to EWN say a visibly shaken Motsoaledi remained on the scene for about 2 hours before being escorted by another car. Motsoaledi says his driver is taking time off from work for mental health reasons.
The drivers who were involved in these 2 different accidents happen to be police because we move around with police. I subsequently heard that they are being charged for culpable homicide. So we're waiting for the law to take its course. That's very, very unfortunate, but I understand those are normal procedures.
Both accidents are being investigated by IPID since the drivers are both SAPS members. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
And finally, Gautrain commuters will not see any fare increases this year, with the rail network confirming that prices will remain unchanged from the 1st of June. The decision comes as many South African households continue to face financial pressure due to rising transport and fuel costs. Gautrain says holding fares steady for 2026 forms part of its commitment to affordable and accessible public transport across Gauteng. The rail network has also confirmed that its R1 parking promotion, which allows commuters to park at stations for just R1 a day when using the train, has been extended until September next year. Gautrain spokesperson Albi Modise.
At a time when many households are under financial pressure, our priority is to ensure that the Gautrain remains a trusted and affordable transport option.
Gold's trading at $4,553.06 an ounce. The rand's at 16.68 to the dollar, at 22.25 to the pound, at 19.40 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $108.90 a barrel.
In the Joburg CBD heading towards Boysons, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay on the M1 southbound between Ethel Auckland and the Crown Interchange in Centurion, Waterkloof area. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 northbound from Boerta Avenue all the way to the Proof Plus Interchange. And in Montana, expect about a 30-minute delay on Sefako Mahatu Drive between Enkel Duren and the N1.
In your sport, Orlando Pirates on the brink of glory as Durban City travel to the arena for a clash against the Betway Premiership title chasers. Jaden Adams admits he would have preferred Mamelodi Sundowns play the second leg of the CAF Champions League final at home, and Werner Kok to leave Ulster at the end of the season.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 8 degrees and peak at highs of 22. Pretoria is at 11 and 23. Vereeniging's at 6, reaching highs of 21 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Controversial figure Brown Mokhotsi has repeatedly told the Madlanga Commission that he does not want to incriminate himself as a response to answers posed to him.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
.702 Drive, 9 minutes past 5. Welcome to the final hour of the show. Plenty coming up. In a moment, we'll talk to the Minister of Correctional Services, Dr. Peter Groenewald. Alarming numbers coming up in the Portfolio Committee on Correctional Services earlier this week in regard to the amounts of money that this department is paying for food supplies for South Africa's various prisons. For example, 726 Rand for a single litre of cooking oil. They should have been paying 29. Yep, Karabo Chale, you can see the expression on his face, and there's more where that came from. We'll talk to the minister shortly about that. Food prices may be severely affected by the massive destruction of farming capacity with the storms in the Eastern and Western Cape. We'll chat to economist Wandile Sihlobo about that. And then in our weekly feature, a song, a book, and a dish, we're delighted to say we're going to be in the company of musician, multi-Grammy Award winner, composer Wouter Kellerman, who, by the way, has just put out some brand new music today. We'll be talking to him about that. Madlanga Commission still on this afternoon. Brown Mokhotsi is the person being questioned. After they finish today, by the way, the Commission goes on a break where they'll be writing up their second interim report. So I asked some of you, all of you, but some of you have responded, what you thought about what the Madlanga Commission has done so far. Let's hear from you.
Hi, Tata John. So this commission's taught me that South Africa's got a lot of stupid people. And even with that stupidity, they're managing to swindle this country with no consequences. So, yeah, that's what I learned from the commission.
This is Hugh. I've got confidence in every single one of those commissioners. They ask penetrating questions. They're very bright legal minds, obviously led by a judge. And the evidence leaders are fantastic. They are brilliant legal minds. I'm very confident in the commissioners and the evidence leaders, even the evidence leaders in the parliamentary ad hoc committee. They were beyond reproach. They get to the heart of the matter. I'm very happy with them.
Yeah, thanks for those. And Sims says Judge Madlanga and his team are brilliant. Sisi Baloy, referring to one of the three commissioners, Advocate Matthew Chaskelson, a.k.a. Chakalaka, are my standout interrogators. 702 drive to that Correctional Services story in a moment, but traffic first.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chale with the very latest Joburg CBD. Not the place to be, but of course getting out of there is proving tricky, yeah?
Yeah, that's heading towards Boysens, coming from the Houghton area, driving through the Joburg CBD. Expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on the M1 southbound from Ethel Oaklands to the Crown Interchange. Alexandra traveling towards Germiston, you can still expect about an hour delay. M3 southbound from the Butlu Interchange to Van Buren. Sunwood Park heading towards Dawn Park. Traffic sluggish on Rondebolt Road approaching North Boundary Road, while in Krugersdorp there's slow-moving traffic. N14 southbound approaching Hendrik Potgieter. Centurion Waterkloof area, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N1 northbound from Boerta Avenue all the way to the Proof Plus interchange. And in Groenkloof, expect about a 20-minute delay on the R21 in both directions. This is between Solomon Mahlangu and the Fountain Circle. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen can't help you escape that awkward elevator ride with your boss, but they can help you get to the office on time. Seeing them on your route just makes you feel better. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove, licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, let's turn to that Correctional Services story. The Portfolio Committee in Parliament looking at this particular department were confronted with some very serious and startling numbers. For example, they found that the department had paid between 672 Rand and 726 Rand for a single litre of cooking oil. The corrected price now has that being bought for either 26 Rand or 29. Gravy powders, they were paying between 2,538 Rand and 3,735 Rand. I don't know the quantity quantities, but the correct price would have been 920 Rand. A department that is absolutely battling to do things with the budget they have, clearly getting fleeced, and all of these irregularities passing through the system until somebody picked them up. The Minister of Correctional Services is Dr. Pieter Groenewald, and he joins us now on 702 Drive. Minister, thanks very much for giving us your time. When you took up your position on the 3rd of July in 2024, I'm sure you would have known from the evidence around Bosasa at the Zondo Commission and many other exposés that procurement was an area with lots of red flags. What steps have you taken since you came into the job to actually make sure that some of these loopholes have been closed? What action have you taken since you put your feet under the desk? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. Well, firstly, I must put it very clearly that the PFMA, the Public Finance Management Act, is very clear that no political official, or can I say office bearer, that includes ministers, are permitted to intervene or to be part of any tender process until everything has been completed and the tenders has been allocated. People must understand that very clearly. That is to prevent corruption. But you ask me what I did as minister, and you're quite right. Although when referring to the Bosasa scandal, and it is a scandal, it's not necessarily on perishable and non-perishable goods. It's line items, and I don't want to go into that.
Yes.
But what I did is that, and it started with the bread prices. Now, on the 9th of May, I intervened, no, I did not intervene. I then started and I want a full report on the bread price. And to make a long story short, we paid a consumer price of 24.50 Rand for a loaf of bread.
Yes.
I then said, but it's totally unacceptable. We must get the best price to the benefit of Correctional Services and the taxpayers of South Africa. And that's why we also have our own bakeries, and we're expanding those bakeries to save money. The previous financial year, on bakeries alone, we are going to have another 7 by the end of 28. We already saved the taxpayer 77 million Rand. Coming back to the Portfolio Committee.
Yes.
Firstly, a correction, and it was made in the Portfolio Committee.
Mm-hmm.
The National Commissioner, who is the accounting officer, corrected the figure, for instance, on the oil. It referred to, as you said, up to 769 Rand. And it said there on the document 1 liter. It's not 1 liter. That was an administrative error. It was for 25 liters. Now, if you take 25 liters, it brings it down to 30 Rand.
Right.
So that was said in the committee. And it is a pity that that specific example is now being used to say the inflated price and everything. Besides that, I immediately said also to the commissioner, I want a full explanation and everything. And he is busy. He is compiling a fact sheet to ensure that everything is based on facts. And it will be presented. And I also said, and I'm on record, and I also said that in the committee, if there was any wrongdoing, if there was any corruption or anything like that, surely I will act as a minister. I will ask, for instance, the SIU, everyone to investigate that.
Minister, can I come in and go back to a point you made at the beginning? You correctly point out that under the PFMA, you cannot get involved in tenders while they are underway. What I want to understand, though, is surely there is ongoing conversation between the department on the one hand and you and the minister as on the other. And, for example, these contracts under which these abuses, your point about the scale of the abuse is well taken, but nevertheless, these contracts are 5-year contracts put in place on the 1st of April 2025. It's now a year later. Can I ask you a two-part question? Were you aware that these 5-year contracts were actually going to be, first of all, a tender process run and then awarded? And secondly, once they were awarded, did you get any feedback on the details? Surely, as a minister, you can ask for that.
And I did. As you said, it was the 1st of April, it was awarded.
Yes.
In 2024. The 9th of May, I had a meeting, and with all some of the procurement managers and everyone. So I immediately acted, and I referred to the bread tender, and I said it must be done with all the tenders and report back. Now, also in the portfolio committee, it was said that we were talking about 4,600 contracts here. So it is an ongoing process, but as you said, it's a 5-year contract. And let me, for instance, take the example of Eskom, where 20,000 rand was paid for a broom. It's not just a matter of saying, okay, now you send someone to jail or whatever the case may be. It's a contract. And if the department has committed to a contract, they must fulfill that contract.
But hang on a moment, Minister. If the contract contains such obvious abuse, I'd rather use examples from your portfolio than from Eskom. So contracts are concluded, and unless the Correctional Services Committee has got this fact wrong, you'll put me right. These contracts came into effect on the 1st of April 2025. So you as the ministry surely would have had time, I appreciate there's a lot of contracts, to actually scrutinize these details. I'm wondering why this is only coming out in May 2026.
No, it had not only come out on that, it was before, but we then presented in June. As you said, 26th of May, we then made the presentation to the portfolio committee. And I mean, we didn't start the next or the morning before to compile it.
Yes.
So, in other words, there was already there. So that will be part of the fact sheet, can I say, that will appear on my desk.
Have you, in the course of scrutinizing these problematic contracts, firstly, have you been to the courts? I mean, a contract is a contract, but contracts get contested in court all the time. Secondly, the suppliers who inflated the prices, do they continue to be suppliers to correctional services?
Well, firstly, if you say contract, let me give you another example. On the IMS project, there was an arbitration process. We only finalized it by the end of last year, beginning of this year, when I became the minister, or under my ministry, so that we can continue. Also with certain disputes on prices. So what I want to say again, and I think we must be very clear on it, and many people say, well, surely you should have done a, can I say, forensic auditing process and everything. My principle is that, of course, if it is necessary, surely we will do it. But we must make sure whether we have a good case, because forensic investigations or auditing processes are very expensive. That's taxpayers' money.
Yes, but that would, but Minister, surely that would be money well spent. I take your point that you can't do a forensic on everything.
John, of course. It will be well spent if it is justified. So if it is justified, I will do it. So let's not jump the gun. Let's get all the facts. I'm waiting for the fact sheet, and I can assure you. And let's not start trying to, I know it's election year, and I know a lot of politicians want to jump on the wagon and everything. I will be rational. I will act in the best interest of the taxpayers to ensure that it is money well spent. But then we must ensure it is money well spent. We can't just, it's one administrative problem. Maybe we didn't look carefully into the matter, and now we ask for a forensics matter.
Minister, at what point did either department or the ministry become aware that there were inflated prices? And the context for my question is simply this. You cannot rush out, indeed, and do forensics, but certainly a sampling of contracts may have revealed a pattern. Was there any kind of sampling done once these 5-year contracts were concluded more than a year ago?
No. What I said is, and I started with the bread contract is a good example.
Yes.
It was also from the 1st of April. I did act, and we renegotiated the prices. And it's easy to refer to inflated prices. The fact is, it was, in that specific case, it was a consumer price. And as minister, I said, I can't see that the department pay for the same price as consumers. Surely there should be a cheaper price on that.
How large was the size of the sample that you did when you reviewed after the 1st of April contracts were concluded?
Well, I said I want on all the perishable and non-perishable programs. And
what did you find, Minister? What did you find?
John, that you hear when I said I'm still waiting for final reports on those contracts. The one you're referring to now and what was presented to the portfolio committee is one of them.
Okay.
So it came to the end of that, and now there will be action. And that is what we do.
Are you concerned that it's taken more than a year?
Well, of course. There are lots of frustration when it comes to administration because there are processes. For instance, as I've mentioned, let's just take the PFMA. It's not just a matter that I can just intervene, and you have to wait for certain processes to follow. But the question that should be asked, are you going to correct it? That is the question. And the next question is, if there was any wrongdoing or any corruption, will you act? And my answer to that is, yes, I will, and there will be consequences if it was irregular or whether it was corruption or whatever the case may be.
And would you accept, Minister, that a valid third question would be how much money has been lost in the time between the awarding of the contract and the discovery that there was abuse in the pricing?
Of course, we will ask that question, and we will determine that. And as I said to you, our bread prices, we brought down from 24.50 to 15 rand. You can make the calculation, what we have saved on that. But besides that, on the bread alone, we also saved the taxpayer 77 million rand the previous financial year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Groenewald, Minister of Correctional Services, bringing us to 28 minutes past 5. I see we've got a couple of you sending voice notes on tenders and indeed on correctional services. Call us with those if you want to respond to the interview with Minister Peter Groenewald. We will await what facts they come up with keen interest. 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, good afternoon to you.
John, no glad tidings, I'm afraid. The oil price creeping slowly again to $110. Platinum dropping below 2,000, and that's really pushed the JSE down on the day, down 2.4%, 114,544 points. Financials down a full percent. Industrials up 0.12. Resources down a full 6%, John. Platinum prices down nearly 4% while the JSE was open, so that'll be one of the main reasons for that. We see Reunert, they're down 14% on the day. They do various things, but one of the things they do is they make electric cable, and they flagged an earnings update saying that the earnings will be a lot lower because there hasn't been much demand for electric cable. That really talks to the construction industry, and that's down. That company formed in the 1880s, been on the JSE since 1945 or so. So we're talking about something that's been around for a very long time. Our mine is really struggling, particularly in platinum. ARM, African Rainbow Minerals, is down 8.3 points. I hope that's not a bad omen ahead of the big African nations clash on Sunday. Northam's up 7.5%. Valterra is down 7.5%. Valterra, Harmony, Implats, Goldfields, Anglo Gold, Panaf, South 32 all down by well over 6%. Karoo up quite strongly after being down yesterday. They're up 4.7%. Sasol, of course, benefiting from higher oil prices. They're up nearly 4%. Some of the property groups, so Fortress, Maz and Attack, all up by around 2%. And then Equites, their property group, they're up 1.62%. That update yesterday. And Pick and Pay up again, up 1.35% on the day. Stefanuti stocks, their profits for the last financial year were jumped by over 200%. There was that settlement with Eskom being the main reason for that. In the US, we saw that markets have opened really quite sharply down. A couple of things, John. So there were producer price inflation numbers that were much higher than expected on Wednesday, and then they followed a consumer price inflation on Tuesday. At the time, markets, I think, were looking at what was happening in Beijing, but the real concern, obviously, is that higher fuel prices are now creeping into inflation numbers. The Dow Jones is down 0.82%, the Nasdaq is down 1.3%. The S&P 500 is down 0.99% so far. The gold price, $4,551.51 an ounce. Platinum, $1,990.10. Brent crude, $109.10. And the rand to the dollar, weaker, John, 16.68 to the euro, 19.39 to the British pound, 22.24. On the Money Show tonight, we'll speak to Spotify. I don't think, I've spoken to Spotify many times, but that's with my thumb. I'll actually be speaking to them personally. They'll be talking about how much money they've been paying out to South African artists on the Money Show. We'll talk too about how you make sure that the money, that the music you use for your brand actually works, and what happens if you get it wrong. Stephen Critis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Money Show between 6 and 8. 29 minutes to 6 now. The latest news with Maki Mulapo. Some updates on Tembisa Hospital, yeah?
That's right, Stephen. Beg your pardon, that's right, John. Good afternoon. Gauteng's Health Department says it's fast-tracking the recruitment of medical staff at Tembisa Hospital in a bid to improve service delivery and reduce patient waiting times. The department says vacancies in critical posts have negatively affected clinical oversight and supervision at the facility, resulting in growing complaints from patients. Health officials say interviews have already been completed for several doctors, nursing staff and clinical support personnel, with more posts still being advertised and shortlisted. The department says some medical equipment, including defibrillators, monitors and infusion pumps, have already been delivered to the hospital. Spokesperson Steve Mabona.
This process will be finalized in due course. We can also confirm that some of the equipments have already been delivered at the facility to fast-track the process of service delivery.
Meanwhile, the department has also provided an update on repairs following last year's fire at the hospital's accident and emergency unit. It says initial cleaning and refurbishment work has been completed, while a full assessment of the more extensively damaged areas is still underway.
The cost of repairing the fire damaged area is being addressed in 2 phases. Phase 1 covered the less severely affected areas. The phase 2 relate to the areas that were extremely damaged by the fire, and a detailed cost assessment is underway.
Electricity restoration remains a key priority as recovery and cleanup operations continue across the Western Cape following the recent severe weather. Over the past week, the province was battered by 2 back-to-back cold fronts that brought torrential rain and destructive winds. The storms caused widespread flooding, severe damage to electricity and water infrastructure, and forced the closure of several schools in parts of the province. The inclement weather also claimed at least 10 lives and left thousands of people displaced. Ntutuzela has more.
Several communities, particularly in the Southern Cape, were left isolated after roads and bridges were washed away, while uprooted trees and fallen rocks blocked access routes into towns. Electricity and communication lines were also severely affected. Provincial Disaster Management Head Colin Diner says significant progress has since been made.
Electricity restoration is ongoing, with over 60% of affected areas reconnected, while work continues in the Cape Winelands and Theewaterskloof.
Diner adds that major national routes, including the N1 and N2, have now been reopened and are operating close to normal. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And in Central Africa, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is convening an urgent meeting today to discuss response efforts and cross-border surveillance over the Ebola outbreak in the DRC. The health watchdog declared the outbreak today, saying it has killed 65 people with 246 cases reported. Africa CDC says the cases of the deadly hemorrhagic fever have been reported mainly in Ituri province, which shares borders with Uganda and South Sudan, raising concerns about the risk of further spread. Ebola is a severe illness with a high fatality rate that spreads through direct contact with body fluids of infected people or dead bodies, such as during funeral preparations. This marks the 17th outbreak of the deadly viral disease in the country. A look at your weather. A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 6 and 11 degrees and peak at highs between 21 and 22 degrees.
Driving through Centurion, Waterkloof area, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the N1 northbound from Buerta Avenue all the way to the Proof Plus interchange, Montana. Also expect about a 30-minute delay on Sefako-Makhato Drive between Enkeldoorn and the N1. In the Joburg CBD, heading towards Boysens, expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on the M1 southbound from Ethel Oakland to the Crown interchange.
The top story in Eyewitness News. Gauteng's health department says it's fast-tracking the recruitment of medical staff at Tembisa Hospital in a bid to improve service delivery and reduce patient waiting times.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
We don't want to abandon power stations that still have reserves and can help us in ensuring that energy security, but we also need to think about the next phase that comes. How are we balancing the two?
If we start growing the renewables energy, while these plants are operating, those that are closer to their life, we are starting there now with the newer and cleaner technologies.
What's our outlook?
We don't want to talk, ours is to do, and then we want you to be the one to say, how do you feel?
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Catch the Springboks live at Ellis Park this year. Lions fans, it's time to roar. Get ready for a season of pure adrenaline in the heart of Jozi. Secure your all-inclusive Lions membership starting from just 950 Rand. That's right, less than $1,000 unlocks your seat to every Lions home match at Emirates Airline Park. That includes the one you've been waiting for, the massive clash between the Lions and the All Blacks this August. Don't get left at the gate for the biggest game of the year. Memberships are available right now at Ticket Pro. Own the season, back the pride, and get behind your team.
Aziz Shege, be in the game. Show your love for D-Ski with Hollywood Bets. We're taking the soccer season to new heights. You could win a share of 4 million Rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Hilux double cab or Toyota Starlet Cross. All you have to do is bet 10 Rand or more on any soccer fixture online or at your nearest branch. Bet now and strike for glory. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Joburg winter is creeping in. The mornings are colder, the scarves are back, and suddenly getting out of bed feels like an extreme sport. So why not follow the sun? Swap the chill for warm Durban beaches, island time in Mauritius, turquoise waters in Zanzibar, or even a European summer with a vibe. Wherever the sunshine is calling, Flight Centre will help you get there. Visit your nearest Flight Centre store or flightcentre.co.za to start planning. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
There are moments that don't look significant at first until everything changes because of them. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton, a new podcast exploring real stories of challenge, doubt, and turning points. Because growth doesn't arrive when everything is clear. It arrives when nothing is. Coming soon on PrimeMediaPlus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, I'm going to remain anonymous regarding this issue of the correctional services. I used to work for one of the correctional services. I'm not going to name which one. And I was in the training department. You know, it's very sad. I remember there would be times where I would need a packet of needles that would cost really around $50. you would need to go through a process where a tender has to be issued. And when you look at the prices that are being charged for these needles, it's madness. When you look at the price of a cone of cotton for sewing, it's probably around 60 Rand now, or 70. It would have been cheaper even then. Now, even at that point, you would need to put a request for a tender. And when you look at the prices of these things that now it's being charged for one cone, it's scary. It's really frustrating.
Hey, John, a great interview with Minister Peter Groenewald. I've got a question. In many countries that I travel around, overseas, prisoners bake their own bread. They, grow their own crops to eat and things like that. And then why is it that our own people are not doing that? This is Simon in Veltefian Park. This could save us a lot of money, I think.
Good afternoon, John. Don't you think you were a little rude with Dr. Groenewald? He is an honorable man, and I'm sure he's not hiding anything. I think you were a little bit rude with him. Nicholas, Florida.
Yeah, well, if it came across as rude, I guess a lot of it is in perception, because Lesego thought it was a great interview. I mean, the thing is, what's very interesting for me is people who were in opposition are now in government. And there's a different set of conversations when you're a minister. It really is that simple. People will not ask you what your view is on somebody else's failure to act, if indeed there was failure to act. You're now being asked about the actions you took, whether they were timely, whether they were adequate, and whether they worked. Yeah, it's a change. You are now playing on a different field, wearing a different color jersey, and that's the point of departure when you're dealing with someone in authority. My view, I'd love to hear yours. 19 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kele, very good afternoon to you. Pirates, Durban City. The Durban team, I suppose, on a high, having won their first trophy, but boy, do the Buccaneers have a lot to play for. What is everybody saying, particularly the players?
Well, John, Durban City will look to spoil the party when they travel to the Orlando Amstel Arena tomorrow to take on Orlando Pirates. The equation is clear for the Buccaneers. A win moves them level at the top of the Betway Premiership standings with Mamelodi Sundowns and just a point away from winning a first league title in 14 years. But it won't be easy, as Thabo Notata and his teammates want to seal a top 8 finish in their maiden top flight campaign.
We're not going to enjoy that game. We're not. I mean, I saw a record. I think they said stadium is sold out on a Tuesday. To be even in the position we are in, why us? Why do you come from a Nedbank Cup final and then you have a chance to decide something that's so far out of your reach? Look, it's a game of football. It's 90 minutes. We go there, we do our best. If our best is better than their best, and good luck to them.
Jaden Adams admits he would have preferred Mamelodi Sundowns play the first leg of the CAF Champions League final away from home. They take on AS FAR in the first game on Sunday in front of their own supporters at a sold-out Loftus Versfeld Stadium, and they go into it wanting to be crowned continental champions for the second time in 10 years.
I don't think it's good for me, because I think for me personally, I want to love the trophy here. Last season, we go that side, we lost and was very disappointed. I think in 2016, the final was also, last leg was also that side. So 3 times South African teams play that side, the last leg. So yeah, what can we do?
Pep Guardiola will contest his 24th final as Manchester City manager when they take on Chelsea in the FA Cup tomorrow. He's looking to add this trophy to the Carabao Cup, which they won earlier in the year, and has discussed the magic that comes with playing at Wembley Stadium.
Maybe I'll go 24 more times. I've been a special place, definitely. Since Barcelona 92, when we won the first Champions League with my club, and after with United, the second time Barcelona as a manager, and many times since I'm here. Giving there semi-finals, finals, win, lose, win. Yeah, it's really good. Go to Wembley again at 3 p.m. FA Cup, the 2 teams with the 2 managers.
Werner Kok is one of 11 senior players who leave Ulster at the end of the season. The news comes ahead of their final game of the United Rugby Championship regular season tonight, where a win over Glasgow Warriors will secure a playoff place. Kok has been impressive this campaign, scoring 12 tries in all competitions, having joined the Irish side in 2024 from the Sharks. And in a round 2 update from the US PGA Championship, 5 straight pars have seen Alex Smalley take the on-course lead on 4 under. 4 of the co-leaders, who include Arik Bogia, are yet to take to the field. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451422 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Centurion busy with all the traffic news. Karabo Charlie.
Yes, John. Well, at this stage in the Centurion Waterkloof area heading towards Linwood, there's bumper traffic, N1 northbound. This is between Botha Avenue and the Proof Plus interchange due to roadworks. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay in the Hermanstad area on Eskiam Pahlele. Between Vormhagen and the R80 Montana, traffic remains sluggish. This is on Sefako Mahato Drive between Enkel Duren and the N1. Joburg CBD heading towards Boysens. You can still expect about a 20-minute delay on the M1 southbound from Ethel Oaklands to the Crown interchange, while in Krugersdorp there's slow-moving traffic N14 southbound approaching Hendrik Vergitter, and finally in Kempton Park, Bursley, there's slow-moving traffic on Morafontein Road between Pretoria Road and Mooifontein Street. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 50 was, as per my last email, too passive-aggressive. Oh, the torture. Well, with the Outsurance pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Manyatela Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
Mzansi Ballet proudly presents Heal the World, an inspiring new ballet set to the iconic music of global legend Michael Jackson. Choreographed by South African prima ballerina and award-winning choreographer Angela Revi in collaboration with renowned Mexican guest dancer and choreographer Jorge Wade, this powerful production celebrates dance as a force for connection, healing, and transformation. It tells a deeply human and emotionally charged story of resilience and self-discovery. Heal the World runs from 13 May to 7 June at the Peter Turin Theatre at Monte Cassino. Get your tickets now through web tickets.
Mzansi, great things can happen when you play Powerball Plus for the mind-blowing 90 million Rand estimated jackpot, while Powerball stands at an estimated 85 million Rand jackpot this Friday. That's right, play Powerball Plus for an estimated 90 million Rand and Powerball for an estimated 85 million Rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
A song, a book, and a dish.
On 702.
702 Drive. Time for us to spend time with somebody who you know well. You may know them because of things they've done, or you may know them through their music, in the case of my next guest. Wouter Kellerman has won Grammy Awards, more than one. He's created fabulous music. He's also got involved in the music of other people, notably the Ndlovu Youth Choir. We're delighted to have him with us on 702 Drive on a day when he releases a new single with Mbuso Khoza called Ungana, and a couple of days ahead of him being honored at the National Orders with an Order of Ikhamanga in gold. Very good time to be having you on the show, Wouter. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Yes, it's a beautiful time to be on. Thanks for having me.
So you grew up in the Joburg Northwest. You went to school at Lougeldenhuis Primary, the oldest of 4 kids. Somewhere
Yes.
along the line, music is coming into your life. How did that happen? When did you realize, A, that music was a wonderful thing, and secondly, it was something you might be good at?
Yeah, my parents took us to a symphony concert when I was 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and they were very enthusiastic about us learning some musical instrument, and they asked us which instrument we'd like to play. My 2 sisters chose the violin, my brother chose the clarinet, and I like the idea of using my breath to express myself, so the flute came to mind. And I loved it from the first day. I had this incredible teacher that was just so encouraging. And I just, even on the first day, I just went home and practiced for hours. And so by the time I left school, I wanted to study music, but we didn't have money for me to go to university. So I had to study something that I could get a bursary for, a scholarship for. And that was engineering. My other talent is mathematics. So I was offered a bursary to study engineering by Anglo American. And I ended up studying electrical and electronic engineering at UJ.
In terms of music in the world around you at school, so from Lougeldenhuis you went, I think it's 2 blocks or even 1, up to Lindenhoer. Was music a big thing in the school? And did you, as a classic leaning flute player, stand out against maybe some of the other boys and girls who were more interested in rock music?
Very much, very much. I was the only boy in school who took music as a subject. So I definitely did stand out in a unique way. And I was definitely not very popular at school. You know, I'm also a table tennis fanatic.
Yes.
I'll take anybody on who wants to challenge me. And I played league table tennis from the age of 10, but so I didn't play rugby or cricket. So that a table tennis playing musician, music playing boy was not the coolest, the coolest thing to be. But those were my passions.
Tell us about meals at the Kellerman family table. Your dad was in banking, your mom was a chemist, so perhaps assuming wrongly that they would have been home at mealtime. Was that a central part of Kellerman family life, that everyone's at the table and we talk and spend time? You weren't growing up in the age of cell phones, so there wouldn't have been that distraction.
No. Yeah, there was no TV even. I mean, the first TV, my friend had the first TV when I was about 12 years old. The first, we would meet at Wednesday afternoon to watch a couple of hours of TV. So there was no TV, and I think that was a blessing. You know, we ate together every dinner. My mom made delicious food. She still makes my favorite food, and we all sat around the table and chatted. And we finished all the food that we were given. It was not an optional thing, you know, but we loved the food. We learned to love food, and my whole family are foodies, and food is very central in our lives. I always say that food is enough reason to live.
What a wonderful
Just
way
food is
to
enough
put
reason
it.
to.
I hope you don't mind if I borrow that. I intend using it. And what makes you live, you tell us, grilled salmon with grilled vegetables. But generally, you make the point, I love food that feels nourishing but still full of flavor. I mean, you travel a lot and you perform a lot, but in addition to performing, given the wide range of your collaborations, you're often working in other parts of the world. Is food also essential for you in making sure that your energy levels are at some, not a peak all the time, but that food actually serves your purpose?
Yes, definitely. I'm playing the flute is kind of being like an athlete.
Yes.
You use your body and your breath and your coordination, and you really have to look. So I do yoga and I go to the gym, And but I'm not, we do intermittent fasting, which means I'm not dependent on food. I don't get those sugar lows. So I'm pretty much ready to go even when I'm traveling. Often we travel, we land, and I have to run and get to the concert hall. Something might have been delayed, and I might just have to play. And I'm able to keep my blood sugar quite constant. You learn it over the years how to do that, and cope with the demands of the job.
So, Wouter, we asked you to choose a book. You actually gave us two. We forgive you for cheating. You picked non-fiction and you picked fiction. The non-fiction is The Art of Loving by Erich Fromm. And then a book that I thought was marvelous and made into a movie that I found utterly grueling, The Life of Pi by Jan Martel. And you make the point that you found it spiritual, multicultural. Tell us a little bit about the book, and in particular, what grabbed you so much. It's a work of maybe fantasy. I think it probably is, but over to you. It's a favorite, clearly.
Yeah, no, I love how he describes all the religions. Pi, investigated all the different religions, and he found beauty in all the different religions. It's very multicultural. And just the symbolism in the book. And I love that the tiger is called Richard Parker, which is actually the name of many the real names of many shipwreck victims.
Okay.
And he called the tiger after real, just little tweaks like that, or little details like that really kept me. But yeah, it's just the passion for life and the explorative, way of writing, and how he discovers life and discovers the world, and it connects with my music because I'm curious about different cultures. My music is mostly multicultural. I'm enamored with roots music from all over the world, and I feel that if we go back many thousands of years, we find a common ancestry, and we can hear it in the music.
And just finally, we're going to play out with your choice of song. It's a Norah Jones classic. People who love her music will regard this as one of her best. Came out in 2002. Come Away With Me. I don't know how hard it was for you to choose a song, Wouter, but tell us why you picked this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me because I love so many different types of music, but this is very soothing. And I've been in love with Norah Jones for 20 years, and every time she asks me to come away with me, I say yes. I'm still waiting for her to respond, but
yes.
I'm very patient. I actually... The first mixing engineer that I used for my first album, I took a long detour in engineering, but eventually when I found my way back to music, I chose the same engineer who mixed Norah Jones's song, this specific one, and he mixed my first album. So, there is a connection there.
Wonderful point of connection and more wonderful music coming out from Wouter Kellerman, working with David Arkenstone and Mbuso Khoza. Look out for the single Ungana, and the album is called Pangea. Wouter Kellerman, once again, thank you so much, giving us your time on 702 Drive.
Thanks for having me, John. Lovely to talk to you.
Come away with me on a bus. Come away where they can't tempt us with their lies. And I want to walk with you on a cloudy day. Fields where the yellow grass grows knee high. So won't you try to come away with me, and we'll kiss on a mountain top. Come away with me and I'll never stop loving you.
Nora Jones on 702 Drive, the song choice as part of his songbook dish of Wouter Kellerman. So, the show this week produced by Jonathan Fairburn and Rifue Litsua, our technical producer Karabo Malapile, and today, Peter Mashabane. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Good night.
Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
and DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Business Banking, featuring the Agri Trends 2026 Autumn Edition. In agriculture, smart moves need smart insights. We get it. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, what's going on at the Vashini Group? Its share price getting hammered through the week, and how will it recover? Spotify is on your radio tonight. They'll tell you how much they've paid